What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Adrian here from Major Mateo Jones. How's everybody doing? Hey, Mitch.
Adrian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. So sorry about that, man. I need to get taken care of. How's everybody doing?
I don't know about everybody, but I'm doing great. How you doing?
My day is doing all right, Mr. Mitch. It just been raining, storming over here in Florida. How about over there in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. The weather's been okay. Hey, I want to ask you,
Yes, sir.
how's my audio sound?
Your audio is coming in a little scratchy, like you're going in and out just a little bit.
Really? Okay, because I'm trying to use these wireless headphones. Let me make an adjustment here and
Okay.
manually adjust the volume. Is that any better?
Sounds a little better. Yes, sir.
Yeah, is that a little better? Okay. Yeah, I I got a new tablet. So I said, "Wow, this would be a great excuse to try and see how well this little tablet works for live streaming." So far so good. How's the
It,
camera
it,
look? Okay.
it seems
I
like it's
mean,
looking pretty good. Yeah. The picture's looking pretty good.
good. Well, as good as I'm ever going to look. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I guess we do have quite a few people already here in the chat. Let me go ahead and say hi to Jody, John Schatz. How you doing, buddy? Robert Glazier. We got Draymond Crawford, Recovery One Drone. We also have you, Mitch. We got Brian Ariel, Gary. How you doing, Gary? Thank you for coming in, buddy. Rocket White. How you doing, Chief? Thank you for coming in, brother. Who else do we have here? We got Michael Blaze, FPV, and GFO Jordan Tega. How you doing, Big Mike? Thank you for coming in, sir. My Condiv, how you doing, buddy? Justin, how you doing, brother? I did want to hit and send you guys a link already. Justin and Matt Condiv and quite a few of you guys. How you doing, Mr. James Droning? Thank you for coming in, sir. I haven't seen a little bit, Mitch. Have you still been doing your live stream, sir?
I didn't do one last Monday, but I'm going to do one this Monday.
Okay. What about tomorrow? You doing anything tomorrow?
Sunday? No, no. I'm going flying in the morning. I went flying this morning real early, and it was nice. It was beautiful out there. So
Yeah.
it's been crazy wet and raining and overcast and nuts weather.
Yes. Here it has been pretty ridiculous when it comes to the rain and all that crappy weather that we've been getting. I've been trying to fly for the longest. Before I actually came into the live stream, I was actually busy on my other computer doing that trust test. I guess the thing that we have to get for recreational flyers, and also I guess Part 107. I finally went ahead and finished it. They wanted you to do like a whole bunch of other sessions, you know what I mean, and learning this and learning that. But I guess because I've been studying so much when it comes to my Part 107, I guess a lot of the answers, the questions I already knew what it was. So I went ahead and I took the test, and I only, out of 3 lessons that you have to take, like 3 quiz, I only had 1 answer wrong. And then it gives you a chance to go and retake it anyway and come up with a great answer. So I guess you won't be able to fail it. You gotta be a dumb.
You can't fail. No, you can't fail that. I just took mine about an hour ago. I said I got a new tablet, so I said, "Well, this would be a good chance to try out the new tablet." And I went on to the AMA site.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed on one of the other sites that I went to, they put up a form and they wanted all kinds of information about you. They wanted your email address, they wanted your home address, they wanted your name. And I said, that's let me go and see what the AMA, and I went to the AMA site, and they didn't ask for anything. They just started the test. So I took the test, and it was simple. It took like, half an hour to read the stuff and answer the questions. And then when I was all done with the test, it said, "What's your first name?" So I put my first name. "What's your last name?" And then it sent me the certificate. So evidently, it's these private companies that are administering this test that are trying to get all this additional information from us that's not required. All they need to print up your stupid little certificate is your first name and your last name. So if any of you guys go to a site to take this test and they ask you for all kinds of email addresses and crap like that, don't do it, because after you take the test, the PDF of your certificate you'll just get a download.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can put it wherever you want, or print it, or do whatever you want with it. But they don't email you anything. They don't they don't want to know who you are, where you are. They don't ask for your FAA registration numbers or your drone register. Nothing. In fact, I was surprised. I took the whole test before they even asked who I was. So the AMA site seems to be the least intrusive.
Yeah, there are some websites that really are doing that. I really don't know why, but I took mine, I guess, to the Pilot Institute website. You know, they got the link right there, so I just went ahead and did it through there and got it done right away. How you doing, Night Train? What's going on, Army Boy? Thank you for coming in, buddy. Michael McGrainer, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for coming in, Chief. I really appreciate your support, man.
We got Michael and Michael. How you doing, buddy?
Yes, sir. Rocket White, how you doing, Chief?
Matt Cundiff. Hi, Matt. How you doing,
in, buddy?
Justin, Drones 863 is here.
Yes, sir. We got quite a few people here already. So, so was it really a big deal, Mitch, if you didn't take that test for you to fly? I mean, I guess if you flew without the certificate, without getting it, does that mean that technically we were breaking the law if we was to fly, without it, or it was just bullshit?
Well, technically, every time you get in your car and go drive, you break the law, because nobody goes only 70 miles an hour on the highway. They always go 80 miles an hour. So breaking the law, it doesn't mean a whole lot. And I think they have to. Although I didn't look into it that much because I didn't think it was all that big a deal. But they need it. They're going to need to give people some time to find out about and take this test. They can't just declare that this test and the next day you're all lawbreakers. I can't imagine that. So I don't think there's going to be any problems with it. It's not. They don't even care about the test. They just basically, it's a way they can force you to read the stuff and read the simple rules. Don't fly over 400 feet. Be careful, pre-flight your drone, all the stuff we've heard before. And you can't fail, because if you get an answer wrong, it tells you what the right answer. It tells you go back and try again until you get it right.
Yeah, so, it does give you a chance to go ahead and go back and take it again.
Yeah. Which question did you get wrong?
What was that?
Which question did you get wrong?
If I recall correctly, it was one where, holy crap, what was it? Something about, I think it was like on a, what areas did you need FAA approval or something like that? Is it like control airspace, uncontrolled airspace, and then it had some other BS? And I think I clicked uncontrolled airspace, but it was supposed to be the one uncontrolled airspace that you do not need, you know what I mean? I guess any kind of, lance approval or something of that nature. Yeah,
for uncontrolled airspace. Yeah, there was, what was there, like 10 or 12 questions total?
I think it was more like between 5 to 7 questions per quiz.
Really? I only got 2 or 3 questions per quiz.
I had between 5 to 7 questions per each quiz, and there were 3 quizzes. Yes.
I didn't have nearly that. I didn't have nearly that many. Maybe the best place to take it is the AMA website, Academy of Model Aeronautics, because
yeah. How you doing, Carlos?
Carlos.
How you doing, Lon? Hey, Jim, how you doing, Above and Beyond Drone? You got your link. So, Lon, you got your link.
Jim is here too, yeah.
Carlos, from Back from the Sky, I'm about to send you a link. Mike, I'm about to send you a link as well, man. My internet acting kind of crappy, so you have to give me a minute. So, Jim, Mitch, you still pretty much still flying your FPV, or do you have any GPS drones?
No, I've been I've been flying airplanes and FPV. Not too much. I flew to Mavic once a few weeks ago, but that was about it. I've been mostly FPV, and then today I took an RC airplane out and flew it this morning as well. I'm rediscovering how much fun flying those things line of sight is, just flying the RC planes. And there's a bunch of guys that go out there to the park on the weekend mornings that fly airplanes. So I go out there and fly with them. Hiya, Jim.
How you doing, Big Jim? Jimbo.
He's trying to get his
Oh, okay, we can't hear you, Jim, but
microphone
okay.
working. I'm running on nothing but batteries here tonight, Adrian.
Oh yeah.
Got battery powered earbuds and a battery powered tablet and
Testing. There you go.
got the chat on my cell phone. So, totally mobile.
That's what it sounds like.
We took that test online the other night, Tuesday night, and it was as simple as could be. Although I disagreed with two of the questions and answers, and so did Brendan from DJI. It assumes that everybody's wearing goggles, and it really looks to me, Mitch, like they're throwing these RC guys, the original RC plane guys where you came from, to the wind.
Well, they have to take the same test because an RC airplane is a UAV or UAS as far as they're concerned. So,
and I answered one of those questions because actually, if you have a VO, visual observer, with you and walkie-talkies and all that, you're supposed to be able to fly. But the answer was no.
well, they said they actually made a point in the text that you read before the test.
I don't read that. I just took the test.
Well, that's the thing. In that text that you should have read, it actually said that you cannot use, that the visual observer must be standing next to the pilot. So that did away with the walkie-talkies and telephone stuff. They made a big point of that. And then in one of the questions that I got, it actually said, "Where does the visual observer need to be?" And the answer was next to the pilot.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So no walkie-talkies, no binoculars, no telescopes, no nothing. Basically,
again, that's assuming that you're wearing goggles.
Then, no, not necessarily.
Course, yes, necessarily.
Well, they
if
also
you're wearing
said
goggles, then you need a visual observer next to you.
They also said that if the pilot in command spends a great amount of his time staring at a screen, okay, not goggles, but staring down at your controller where your camera feed is, they consider that as the same as wearing goggles. You're not looking at the drone, you're looking at the controls. And in that case, that's where they said you needed a visual observer. So
how you doing, Chris Hope?
Jim, how are y'all?
What's up, buddy?
Chris, how you doing,
home?
Buddy?
Yeah, you're home.
Yeah, I'm
How
home.
are you, Gina's Join? Thank you for coming in, Gina's Join. I appreciate you and everybody else in the chat. Thank you
Jeannie's
for
in the
popping in.
house. Hello, Miss Jeannie.
Well, the bottom line, Jim, is we're just going to go out and fly like we always did. Nobody's going to bother us,
Well, see, this is why I didn't like it, because it's not all inclusive, and that's not fair. Even Brandon Shulman disagreed with two of the questions, so two of the answers. So
You deal with the government.
I do have to agree with you, Jim. Some of the questions were kind of ridiculous, I guess. You know what I mean? But most of us already know the answers anyway. Like, I didn't even have to study. Like, when I talked to you before I did my stream earlier, I took to the test. I went straight to it. And you know what I mean? Again, I only had one wrong out of every single question. Only one.
Now, I agree, because Lon Denard told me
How are you, Mr. Steve?
Him and Ken Dono both had instances of somebody coming up on them and tapping them on the shoulder or talking to them when they were flying, and they didn't even know the person was there. You know what I mean? So in that instance, I can see a visual observer standing next to you. But if you're an RC plane pilot, what the hell's this got to do with anything? So
Well,
what
if
I'm
you're an
saying is
RC
the test assumes everybody's wearing goggles.
Well,
Now-
if you're an RC plane pilot, Jim, then you're never taking your eyes off your airplane anyway. So you don't need a visual observer. You are the visual observer because you're not looking at a screen, you're not looking at
Right.
a tablet, you're
Correct.
not looking at goggles. You're looking at the airplane. And
Correct.
so for the RC guys, all that stuff is fairly meaningless unless they start putting FPV cameras in their airplanes, which a lot of guys do now, and fly through goggles.
I started doing it with Estes rockets 20 years,
Yeah.
30 years ago.
But I took my airplane out this morning and I flew it, and I didn't take my eye. You don't dare take your eye off the thing. You know, you look away. When you look back, it's not there, and then you're in trouble.
Carlos.
I don't want this thing to become exclusive to drone pilots because it creates a divide, and I don't like that. That shouldn't be any part of this.
Well, the airplane guys are pissed off anyway, and they're going to be pissed off at the drone guys because, as far as they're concerned, that none of this happened until the drones came along. So it's all the drone guys' fault. And I mean, I get that attitude when you go to an RC club and you pull
Yeah.
out a drone. They look at you like you're a leper, you know.
I had a helicopter pilot, RC helicopter pilot, gasoline engine, actually tried to come at me, Chris, with the Phantom 4, and the Phantom 4 kept moving away from him. Oh, it pissed him off. This is at the field we flew at, Mitch. You and I flew at.
Oh, down at at
The
the
compound. Yeah.
That's when you land it. You politely walk over to him and say, "Hey, what the is wrong with you?"
Well, interestingly enough,
That's
the
polite,
RC
right,
heli-
Chris?
we took over the drone guys took over the role of bad guy from the RC helicopter guys, because when we first started flying RC helicopters at the flying field where the airplanes were, we were the lepers. They didn't want us anywhere near them.
Yeah.
He said, you take those. So they gave us a little place way off in the South 40 of the field, out in the middle of the boondocks. They said, that's where the helicopters fly, way out there.
Now, I know this guy, he owns a lot, which is only a quarter acre, a lot out there in the compound, but it's not an AMA site. It's what he owns. And actually, when you fly there, you're flying because he has given you permission. But with this great buildup that's going on all around the country right now, and I don't see any list of brand new AMA sites or FRIA sites, and there's
Not
Mitch
yet.
tells me there's one in Melbourne, but I'm not going to fly way up
Well,
there.
there's one up in there's one way up in Cocoa at the dump, up in Cocoa, which is where the IRKS IRKS club field is, and it's a beautiful field, but it's off in the corner of where the dump is. So to get in, you got to wait in line with the dump trucks to get through the security gate. Then you get in, and now the landfill is creeping closer and closer and closer to the flying field year after year, and you get more birds, more smell. It's a terrible place to fly. And plus it's for drones, it's terribly unscenic flying at a dump.
Yeah,
There's nothing to I have a couple of videos on my channel that I actually flew a year and a half ago or so out there at the flying field, and you can see that there's just nothing except trash.
How
And
are
hills.
you, Third Eye View? Thank you for coming in on Limited Vertical. I appreciate your support.
Hey, John. Third Eye lives over here.
Oh, he does?
Oh, in Texas,
He-
where you at?
He lives over close to Fort Hood.
How far is that from you, Chris?
So Temple is probably right at 2 hours.
But
Now, does he-
okay.
Does he have an MOA around that? Because I know we can't
Oh, yeah.
fly near Patrick Air Force
but,
Base.
When I say he lives close to Fort Hood, that could be within 100 miles of it.
Okay. All right.
How are you, Richard Fink? Thank you so much for coming
Kind of like
in.
bring me a
buddy.
Coke, but I really
appreciate
want a Dr. Pepper.
Everything here is 30 miles. That's all I'm used to. If you're within 30 miles of the rocket takeoff, you can't fly.
you. Guys, you guys
Yeah,
gonna have
no,
you guys gonna have to forgive me, but I'm about to bring the prick into the stream.
Yeah,
He
bring
got
him
his
in.
name.
We love him. We love him.
Is he,
Yeah.
is he
Well,
wearing his Caribbean?
I've got it. Hey, Adrian.
What's
Carlos, how you
up,
doing,
Curious George and friends?
How are you, FN Carlos?
FN Carlos is in the dark again, and he's a
I look.
you look
better in
like
the
you're
dark.
witness protection, Carlos.
Right.
You know how
So-
all racist. You know how all racist jokes start
With Mitch.
like this. All right, I'm done.
Is anybody
evening.
looking?
I'll be here all week.
Chris, how come you've been traveling so much lately?
Just can y'all hear all that?
Who owns a
Yeah, I
bird?
hear birds and dogs. Who's
You actually paid for that?
He got a petting zoo in his house. He got a freaking petting zoo.
We used to have two of those cockatoos or whatever. They wouldn't shut the hell up.
Hey, Adrian, really quick. I invited a gentleman called Max Air 420 who's in the chat. I'd like for you to make him blue and welcome him. He's a good guy. I'm going to meet him tomorrow.
What does that mean? What
I'm
does that
going to
mean?
meet him
If you
tomorrow.
think he's a good guy, what does that have to do with us?
Oh, I'm sorry. That means I speak up for him that you can be blue wrenched. That's all that means, you prick. I'm
All
giving you a
right,
hard time.
let me go ahead and give him the blue range as soon as he pop up on the chat on the on YouTube.
Anyway.
Give me a-
We're going to go meet him, me, Paul, and Joan Psyche, upstate New York.
Oh,
I'll fly
really?
with him. Oh, yeah.
You're going all the way upstate, huh?
74 miles one way. But Charlie's
Wow,
driving,
wow.
so it's cool.
Well, that's not too bad. That's
No.
not too bad.
Hour and a half.
Wow, you're getting around.
Video
We're
card,
trying.
everything.
Next, we're going to try to go to Rhode Island soon, too.
Yeah, they're having that meetup up there.
Meet up with Michael Blade.
Yes.
What does anybody know the size of his group? He's got that Rhode Island meetup group. I know there's a couple of guys in it. I know Mark Fisher's in it. He's in it.
Maybe Mr. Crowley and his drone?
I don't know who else is in it. Hey,
I'm
there's
not
Michael
sure.
Blade right there.
Speak
Hey,
Crowley.
Mike,
Yeah, he was here a little earlier. Yeah.
Mr. Crowley lives in Massachusetts.
What'd you say, Chris?
Mr. Crowley, Sean lives in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I mean, he's halfway there.
Yeah.
200
there's a
members,
profile.
Michael Blade says. He's got 200 members.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
Max Air 420. Thank you so much for coming in, buddy. Brian
That-
Ariel, Mr. Gary, how you doing, Chief? Well, we got Jim Droney, Michael Blaze. We got a packed house tonight. Thank you, everybody, for
Yes,
coming
sir.
in.
Just
What's up,
to see
Gary?
Curious.
Jim's
So, Adrian,
joining.
I gave you my address, and I still haven't seen a thing, not even a stamp. What was that all about? Coming to visit me?
Can you hear? Can anybody hear FN Carlos? Because I can't hear him.
I know
Carlos, you
everybody
got
heard
the
me.
thing.
I know you may
got
not
the
want to
thing.
hear me.
I cannot
But
hear him.
listen,
I mean,
just do me a
he's talking
favor.
to a bro. He's
Before
like a
you
little girl
send
just
anything
talking.
there, tell me, because that wasn't the right address. Because I had a
He
feeling
sounded like a
you were
little
going to
girl
do
just
this
talking.
shit.
I didn't hear nothing from him.
Of course not. Put you on the spot as a
What's
prick.
up, Mel?
I love you, Carlos.
I love you too. Curious.
Hey, I noticed.
All right,
Adrian.
Carlos. So Mr. Max at 420 got a blue range. How you
All
doing,
right.
Mel?
Cool.
Hey, Mel, I did send you your link if you want to join in, buddy.
Adrian,
Yeah,
you,
Mel's
you
here.
bought this thing? Because I see it,
What?
it says the camera can go into 1080. So you bought a subscription to StreamYard?
I've been at
Yes.
it for a while. I mean, I told you that I've had it now
months
before, but
back.
I could. Shit,
I
but I
don't
could.
understand.
4 months, 5 months.
Yep.
You got the shittiest internet, the shittiest camera going, and you're paying $20 a month for this thing.
So you
Even
can put
Mitch
10
will
people
do
in
that.
here, huh?
I hope to come to Rhode Island.
I paid for it. I paid for StreamYard, but they had a deal. It was
Such
like
a deal?
70 something bucks for such a deal.
Such a deal,
70
Michael.
something 70 something bucks for a year, for the whole year, and guaranteed to renew at that rate. So I said, hell, I'll throw them a few bucks, and I did.
Carlos, you know what a great Jewish wine is, right? I want
Honey,
to
I
go to
want to go to
Miami.
Florida.
Miami.
Have a good weekend, Gina's joined. How you doing, Mike Kenny? Hey,
What
Mike Kenny,
week?
send you your link, buddy.
What 3 words won't a Jewish woman ever say?
Here we go.
Oh, ever hear. Welcome, Kmart shoppers. Just kidding, Mitch. Hey,
What
I'm
is
married.
what
My ex is a Jew.
what does a Jewish housewife like to have best for dinner?
Reservations?
Exactly.
Oh, a
Reservations,
Jewish woman's 4 favorite animals: tiger in bed, mink in the closet, jaguar in the garage, and a jackass to pay for it all.
Yeah.
Done. All right, that's it for the corny jokes.
No more Jewish jokes. Okay.
Hey, whoever made these all up, even about the mix, like me, truth in there somewhere, right? All started.
Oh, there is.
All
Of
right,
course
all
there
right.
is. Yeah.
I'll tell a Puerto Rican joke. What does a Puerto Rican and a cue ball have in common? You know what a cue ball is, right? When you play pool,
Yeah.
the harder you hit them, the more English you get out of them.
Hey, Rick and Morty. Thank you for coming in, buddy. Hey, Carlos, look what Michael Blade said.
We got a few guys already. Yeah, I'm coming.
when you doing
Who's
this
Ken
get
Dobo?
together,
Oh,
Mike?
Ken Dobo. Okay.
Ken Dono. Yeah.
Dobo, whatever his name is.
Dono. Yeah, man. He's all about his new studio that he built. He went and rented a place and he built himself a big studio, man. He's gone big time.
Good for him.
Beautiful too. It's beautiful. It looks great.
We're going to the cliffs of Newport, Rhode Island.
Yep.
That should be cool indeed.
When is it?
Is that
Jesus.
Chris's house? Are you serious?
Yes,
Yes, it is.
Chris's-
I
that's
said he got a
Chris's-
freaking petting zoo.
That's
Dogs,
Old McDonald's
birds.
farm.
Unbelievable.
Old McDonald's farm.
Chris
July
doesn't have to go to work.
31st.
He just has to open up a petting zoo.
July
Michael Blade says
31st.
July 31st.
Just a one day, huh? That's cool.
What day of the week is that, by the way? Anybody know? Let me see. Oh, my phone's here.
I could actually do that and then go back to Long Island and see the family.
Oh, you have family still there?
They all live there
That's
but
a
me.
Saturday.
I have
Oh,
5
York.
brothers
Yeah.
and 4 sisters.
Oh, so why don't you do that? Then we can
4
fly.
brothers and 2 sisters. I lied.
Meet up with Bum and Psyche and all the other. Oh, you know who else is coming tomorrow if all goes well? Is Captured Life Connection. I forgot. Stevie.
Stevie?
Oh, that's cool.
So we'll have a nice little group there of 6, I hope.
I live next door. I don't live next door to a fire department, but we got a little volunteer fire department, and apparently they've got called out.
Oh, so
that's
that
right.
gets the dogs all kooky.
Oh my lord!
Fireworks,
Yeah.
lightning.
Do you still have the
Firemen.
general siren? The siren that goes off in the neighborhood?
No, it's just them run down the highway at 100 to get to the fire station to leave.
You know, they don't do that in the 5 boroughs, Jim.
I don't know. Do they still do it on Long Island? They used
Yes,
to.
I've heard it. I've heard it in the past. I'm not sure
Okay.
if it's still the same, but I have heard it. Sounds like an air raid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Drone Bum's going to be able to make it. Charlie would probably make it.
And they used to give those guys green lights to put on their dashboard.
On the dash. Not blue?
green.
Is it possible they changed it to blue, or is that fireman?
No, blue is only for police.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So, what have you been flying lately, Adrian?
I haven't really been flying, sir, because the storm and the rain
Oh, the weather?
just won't freaking stop.
And that's why that little
It's every day, man.
tiny hook would have come in handy so you could fly inside.
And matter of fact, it's storming right now.
Is it?
Yeah, over here it is.
This is the only day it hasn't rained here.
It was beautiful this morning, man. It was gorgeous out. There's very little wind, sun was up. Hope it's going to be like that tomorrow morning too.
I don't know. What if it?
Oh, it's
But all
going to be
week
like
was-
almost 90 degrees tomorrow, humidity up in the 70s and 80s. We're going to melt, and we're going to be upstate. But what the hell? We're flying.
Yeah, but you'll get a
Are you
breeze up
are
there.
you anywhere near Mike Roche up there?
No,
Where are you
no,
going?
he's way up. This is an
Way
hour
up
and a
to
half away.
Syracuse, yeah.
He's like 4 or 5 hours away.
Mitch, it's still 81 here right now.
Yeah, it's a little muggy. I was just outside.
Let's see.
Came in for the occasion here.
84% humidity. Oh, I hate this phone or this camera. You never focus
How you
in.
doing, Mickey Steve?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Freaking unbelievable.
Hey, you know what? I got a technical question for anybody in the chat. I got one of those portable air conditioners, which is
I have one.
saying stupid in two different ways, because an air conditioner works by heat exchanging.
Yeah, but the tubes go out the window.
One tube goes out the window. It's
You only
still
have one?
sucking hot air in from itself. Anyway, yeah, it only has one tube going out the window.
Okay. And is it self emptying, or do you have to empty it?
It's got a pan on the bottom, but I have never had to empty it.
That's good. You're ahead of the game.
Well, but that's not working if it's not pulling the moisture out of the air.
It's got to be sucking, turning it into heat, and like humidified.
No,
hot
because
air.
mine does not need to be emptied. I think it just somehow gets shot out.
I understand. Yeah, I don't.
And I
it's
have
gotta-
two tubes, and the only reason I have one is because my living room window is a fire escape, so you're not
The
allowed
two
to put a
tubes is
window-
actually better.
Yes.
It's better.
Yeah.
Than the one I have. The stupid $600 one I bought because the $3,000 air conditioner A-frame had to be replaced in the kitchen.
Eeks.
Um,
Yeah, it's like 73% humidity, 73 degrees here in New York.
my question was, I want to use that thing just for a dehumidifier out here in the garage. Because why air condition the garage? But it does act as a dehumidifier too.
Mine too. Yeah.
I would like. Have you ever tried that? I've never tried it.
No.
Well, try it. What
I
do you
want
got
cool.
to lose?
But here's another. Well, you ever hear of those little bags of damp rid? They actually
Yeah.
work. They actually work.
But I got
not for your
84%
sake.
humidity. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm dying
for a
now,
garage,
you know.
it's damp rid is would
Yeah.
be kind of ineffective in a garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indoors maybe.
It was
And
cool this morning. It was in the 70s this morning. We went out about 7 o'clock this morning and flew till about 9:30, and it was gorgeous out there.
Hopefully we'll be on the road by 7.
I got that Florida room, Mitch, but mine isn't enclosed like yours. It's the screen.
Yeah, mine has got a screen, but I got the vinyl panels that I can pull down. It still gets
Uh-oh.
warm out there. Got some ceiling fans.
Hey, Chris, Hope just sent me a text saying that his power went out.
Something happened to
Oh.
him, yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't buy a generator after that last ice storm.
He said
How
he was
you doing,
running off a
Brendan?
battery.
I own a generator and I live in the city. I mean,
Hey,
he's a
Brendan
country
Nonley
boy.
and Army Boy, thank you for coming in, buddies.
What do you got? One of those little Honda ones, Carlos?
I have a Yamaha 2800 inverter, but it functions as a generator. But it's
But
an
they're
inverter.
very quiet, those little things. They're
Yeah,
terrific.
look at his power
There
came
he is.
back.
And it also handles the sensitive electronics. Some
Oh,
laptops
the sine
and things.
wave.
Yes, pure sine wave.
Yeah.
It must have been a quick in and out, Chris Hope.
Let me go
Well,
see what.
I think I
That's
was
what his
talking
wife
about
said.
living by the fire department. That's usually
How
not
you
a
doing, Harley FPV?
good
Thank you for
sound.
coming in, buddy. Third
Fire
eye, how
department
you
goes
doing,
out.
buddy?
electricity.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Chris. Sorry you were talking because Adrian walked all over you.
It's his channel. He can do what he wants.
You
Apparently
damn,
he's going to.
you damn right.
Hang on a minute, Adrian. I got to get this.
I know who he's calling too.
Hey, baby
Is-
girl, how you doing?
She's
It's my
there.
birthday. I can do what I want to.
He's calling your daughter, Adrian.
Yeah, I'm talking. I'm looking at your daddy right now.
Did I miss something good?
No, no.
No, Chris
Anyway.
was just talking to Adrian's
I was-
daughter. That's
I was
all.
talking, so you left at a good time.
My air conditioner is a Amana brand name. I've had it for like 6
God,
years.
I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah, 6-7 years,
Amana.
and it's still
Wow.
around. All I do is clean the filter. Do you clean your filter? Gotta
Yeah,
clean it.
they pop off.
Did you buy
Mine
the
just
same
slides up. Slides up, and you just use
That
a
little
shower head or
plastic.
something.
Oh, Dre.
One of these days, Chris. One of these days. Pow, right in the kisser. How you doing, Dre? Recovery One Drone.
What is
Hey,
that, the
straight
weather
up to
channel?
me.
Adrian, if you ever do that, you're gonna need a step stool.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Carlos.
Oh, don't worry about it. I got a ladder. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
All right. And you might
What?
want to grow a little muscles.
To try and hit Chris, the giant?
Yeah.
You're going to need a ladder.
Hey, Dre, I sent you a
I
link
was-
if you want to phone in, sir.
I was
And
a
then
little
one of the-
surprised when I first saw Adrian at the meetup. He was like as big as Ed, with a little bit more meat on him.
For everybody in the chat that did not know nothing about the drone meetup, this fool effing Carlos gave me a hug. I'm thinking a hug. This idiot almost kissed me on my lips.
He kissed Ed.
I would never,
Almost kissed me on my
I
lips.
wouldn't kiss you in your lips. I gave you a kiss on the cheek.
On the
You
cheek.
almost kissed me on my lips.
All right,
Very
so what's the
affectionate.
deal? Are you gay? Are you gay, Adrian?
No, I'm not, but I'm
All right,
just
so
saying.
don't
like,
worry
you know,
about it.
I
It's
could
not
be
a
if you want me to.
It's not a problem.
I
Listen.
could be if you want me to.
As long as you catch an eye pitch, we're good.
You asshole.
I could be if you want me to. Whoa,
How you doing,
Lon,
Lon?
what could you
Pretty
step
good.
into, Lon?
Big Lon, what's going on?
Nothing. Just walked in the door from work.
Hey, Lon, did you see that recreational test?
Yeah, I did it in about 4 minutes.
Did you disagree with any of those answers?
Yeah, I don't disagree
Oh man.
that they can make whatever rules they want. I guess I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of it's kind of like, but
I was remembering when you were telling me about, back in March about people walking up on you when you're wearing the goggles
yeah,
and stuff like that. And that test assumes that everybody's wearing goggles. Whatever.
First rule is to constantly come back to your position. Well, that's what I try to do. Even though I fly far, I come back to look behind me. But my goggles allow me to have peripheral vision. I've flown like inches away from a guy's head because he came close to me. I have it on video too. I do.
Well, the other day you were bouncing into Charlie's.
Yeah, but
chest.
that's a little whoop and stuff. I'm talking about I had the freestyle. Let me see if I find it. He was just
yeah,
too
that's what
close.
I look
and I
at.
didn't,
I got a
didn't feel
89
comfortable.
mile per hour, 900 gram missile. You know, messing with me.
it's
You
a
know?
flying blender.
Yep.
Let me see.
You remember that one we saw with 64 blades?
Hey, Lon.
Jesus.
Holy crap. I saw that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Adrian, are you capable of playing a video that I post? I mean, do you have the technology?
Do you want to share a video? Sure, go ahead.
No, I put a video there for you to play. You can't play that? I don't have the means to share it. Sorry.
You're talking about like a link?
Yes, sir. It's on the chat.
Hey, Jim, go ahead and play it for him.
All right.
And
But
share it
what I
out.
want you to do is play it like really towards the end, because that's when I just came like inches away from this guy's mug.
Can we play the audio?
Yeah, it's all YouTube friendly. But anyway, so I'm flying and this guy's walking across the field and he's getting closer and closer. And I'm like, who are you?
You want me to skip?
Yeah, all the way to like the last minute or so. You'll see the guy, he's walking up on me. It's freezing. You see him on the ball field there by like shortstop?
You're the only one there.
Watch on the ball field by shortstop, by second base. He's walking. See him? You saw a figure on the right there? You'll see. You can give it a double tap and give it like 10 or 15 second boost so we don't bore everybody to death.
He's right there.
Yeah,
There
you
he
put
is.
me to sleep here.
Now watch. Watch how close I get to this guy. I'm like, who are you? Shoo.
That was a brush off.
That was like, stay away from me, prick. I don't know who you are. Look, again.
That was a maverick. You buzzed the tower.
Did
Hell
he say
yeah.
anything?
No. What are you going to say when you have a blender coming at you?
Did he leave?
Mm-mm. I ended up talking to him for a while.
Oh,
But
so now he's your friend.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
why not?
He's an older guy. But what I'm saying is that's how I treat people that walk up on me. I'm going to let you know I'm around. I don't care. Sorry.
How you doing, JSK
Your
Enterprise?
personality, you already knew.
I'm sorry?
With your personality, you already knew who you were.
No, they don't know me if I'm quiet.
Oh, everybody
I'm
knows.
a
Paul.
completely different person in person. Ask Paul. He'll tell you. Even drone psych.
I asked Adrian. He said, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
Adrian's like,
Definitely ain't.
he marches to the beat of a different drum, this guy. So you can't take what Curious says seriously.
And the thing about it is that Carlos is the same way he is on the stream.
Adrian, where are your
I-
glasses
I
tonight?
mean, don't you appreciate people that are consistent? They're the same in person and not in person, right?
Most definitely, yes. Keep it
All right.
real.
That's me. I'm not good at being anybody else. So
No,
can we
it's-
talk about? No, I'm only
It's-
kidding.
So you
What
can
was
be
that,
yourself.
Oh, I was saying, where are your glasses, man? We're all wearing glasses.
I'm about to go ahead and put him on because I gotta have him for reading.
Can you please put the Urkel ones on? The dark ones. The frame?
Oh my God, I'll be right back.
Thanks.
Did I do that?
But that's why you call him Curious George, right?
Well, he's Curious George or Steve Urkel's son.
Steve
one or
Urkel.
the other.
Exactly.
Did you
Chris,
see him the first time he came out with that? Seriously,
no,
I didn't know who it was. I actually thought it was Steve Urkel.
Wow.
I did not see him
Yeah,
the
I had
first
some
time.
girl, I don't know if you guys saw it on one of the streams or whatever. I had some girl walk up and tap my goggles.
Are you kidding?
Like two girls, just some girls, like 20-some-year-old girl just walk up and tap my goggles. I had a
Jeez.
drone like hovering like 10 feet away, 20 feet away. And I'm just like, I'm talking to her. I'm like, look, you need to be somewhere else, And she
Wow.
just like kept standing there, and she reached up and went "Boop," like that.
You
and
see,
then
that's
walked
when you
away.
gotta
I'm
act like
like-
a crazy person. They'll never come near you
Wait, what made her think she could just walk up to you and do that? I don't get
because
it.
she has a
I don't get it
vagina.
either.
It's the vagina pass. They think they can get away with shit because they have.
Yeah.
And they do, and they can.
If you
Yeah.
let them,
Well, she did.
We do
to
let
an
them.
extent,
That's the
yeah.
problem. We let them.
If it was a dude, I would have knocked him the fuck out.
Right.
I'm just being honest with you. I would have popped him. I thought about it though. I was standing there. I was like, you can touch me, huh?
Oh yeah.
let me tell
Yeah,
you,
let's play touch. Let's play reciprocation.
I think it was in junior high school, and this girl kicked me in my nuts, and instantly I kicked her in the crotch. I bet you she'll never do that again because she was in pain. I hit her just as fucking hard. Whack.
Yeah, but I don't think it hurts them as much as it hurts
Oh,
us.
well, then something hurt because she was in pain. Let me tell you.
There's a lot of nerves in there,
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
a lot of nerves in there, man.
two-way street.
You got a busted lip.
They don't want you to open the door anymore. Yeah, busted lip.
Hey Dre, did that Lance going down screw you up any? I know he flies in a sophisticated airspace area.
Is it still down or is it back up again? I haven't
No,
tried.
it's back. It's back up.
Oh, so
Is
the
it?
40-day thing with Al was a rumor?
Well, it was out for what, 2 days?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
they
use
said
it.
45 days or something, didn't they?
That's
Lance-
what Al was saying.
Lance
They
to me
say.
is a guy's name. That's about it.
That's what it looked like.
I really am surprised you don't need it with Kennedy and LaGuardia right there.
No. Bum did it once, right there next to the World's Fair. I told you.
Yeah.
He got 400-foot approval.
Yeah, it's easy. It's
And
easy.
why not? I mean, no
next to the
plane is
airport.
flying.
Well, no, you remember, Mitch, or I don't know if you remember. You said your high school trip. You were there,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's right next to the airport. It has to
yeah.
be less
But
than
it's
5
not
miles.
on. It's not on any of the approaches to the airport.
Right.
Right.
True statement.
The 1964 World's Fair.
64
I
was
was
it?
there. That was my high school class trip.
Hmm.
Senior high school class trip in
From
1964
Pennsylvania, right?
from Philly. Yeah. Well, Philly's an hour and a half from.
Yeah,
New
yeah.
York.
We went to, this was in middle school. We went to and walked up the 300 something steps of the Statue of Liberty.
Hey, Jim, is there any relation to Sandra?
No.
Okay.
How are you, Sandra boy? Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, Sandra went to Walmart and got a drone and crashed it.
Nice.
Oh.
How you doing,
which
Bob
one?
Casey? Thank you for coming in,
I
buddy.
can't remember. It's like an $80 drone. She could tell you.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's where
Bob.
I started off, Lon, with those Walmart pieces of junk. It almost turned me off the whole thing.
Yo, Adrian. Bob Casey's here. Adrian, you want to greet him before you interrupt
Bob
somebody?
Just
Casey.
say, how you doing, Bob Casey? You want listening? You're running your
How
mouth.
you doing?
If and Carlos.
Come on,
Carlos
Howard.
does it on purpose, man.
To Adrian, you know how many times? Well, never mind. It's his show.
Hey,
Don't get me
brother Bob.
started.
Julian, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Jim.
Tonight.
Yeah, Jim. Cheap drones chased me away from FPV back in the day. I bought one of those cheapy kits, and I had the drone and the controller. I still got it somewhere in those box goggles. And
Oh, Mitch, you never got
it
my
was
messenger
so bad.
message.
It was just like, I was like, yeah.
I
Mitch, I
bought
sent
one.
you a message on Messenger. You should check it out.
You know what, Carlos? It came up in my notifications, and I tried to get into it, and I don't ever use Facebook, and I couldn't find it again.
On Messenger?
Yeah,
Really, you dirty rat. All right, I'll
I
send it
couldn't.
again.
I couldn't.
On a phone,
Let
that's
me- let
two
me try.
separate apps now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, should be just on Messenger.
Well, hang on. Let me see. Let's see if I can find it here. Messenger. Okay, here it is. So what
don't have-
happens is
Oh,
I
okay.
never go into it much, so it just starts scrolling through 1,000 messages.
No, it should be your last one.
Here it is. I got it now. Okay.
You might want to.
Are you
No,
friends
you don't
with
have
him
to
on
mute it.
Facebook, Edward? And then
No,
it
no,
says
no,
Spike.
no. I sent it to you, not that one. A whole your personal Messenger.
My personal. So here's chats.
All right. Have you ever heard of almond flour
Yes.
to make bread?
Yeah.
Is it safe?
It's
It's
got
supposedly
carbs.
keto friendly.
Yeah, but it's got it's got a ton of carbs in it. So
Oh, it still has
no.
carbs. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, not as much as regular flour.
Right. Well, she
You know,
made
if you
it,
use
what
a
was
table,
it?
some of these
Yogurt?
recipes that they have use a tablespoon of it or two, but you don't want to use any more than that because when you start baking bread, doing all that stuff, within 2 weeks you'll be eating all the crap again.
Nah.
No,
I don't-
well,
I
that's what
put too-
happens. That's
I
what
put
happens.
Too much into this to go backwards.
Why
That's
is
a
the
gateway.
flour bleached? Why is it bleached?
I don't know, to kill you.
Just makes it makes it a white looking instead of a brownish like almonds.
What the hell
Dirty.
do we care?
Dirty to
Well,
clean.
we don't, but some people do. Some people like flour. They want it to look like flour.
It's aesthetics.
Dustin
Because it
Get
says,
the
doesn't look
unbleached.
Flour wasn't
Yeah.
white before.
Why is keto
So- It
wasn't
unsustainable? I want to know why
No.
you say that. I don't
It's
know.
brown.
It's not unsustainable.
I don't
It's
think
very
so.
sustainable. No, it's very sustainable.
Depending on your budget.
Yeah,
Those,
I mean,
those vegetables, I tell you what, and the quality of them, I don't know. We got a store called Winn-Dixie. The
Yep.
freaking quality of the vegetables is terrible.
well, we don't eat many vegetables on this diet. In fact, hardly any at all. It's mostly just meat.
2 cups a
Eat.
day, it says.
No, you
don't have
you don't have to.
I sent them, what was that, page 4 it's called, Mitch?
Yeah, you know, some of the people say you need vegetables, but it's being proven that you can get by without any of that crap. You know, basically just eat animal products.
But
You'll
it's
be healthy.
not going to hurt you if you do.
Eat some
No,
of it.
if you eat the vegetables that grow above the ground, don't eat potatoes
No
and carrots
potatoes.
and shit like that. But eat broccoli and Brussels sprouts, and you'll be
Mike
okay.
Kinney.
Oh, what's the matter with a
Look.
carrot? It's supposed to be good for your eyesight.
Well, that's what they say, but the studies they've done show that that's all nonsense. It's
Well,
not.
Bugs Bunny differs with you. He begs
Well,
to differ.
But he's dead. Bugs
What's up?
You
Bunny's
ever seen
dead.
him with glasses? No.
So you guys take supplements or something? Because haven't you ever
No.
heard of scurvy?
Well, actually, believe it or not, you
Nope.
don't. You just don't need.
Is that vitamin
you don't
C?
need vitamin C. There's vitamin C. You get vitamin C from beef. There's enough vitamin C in beef that's all you need.
What about vitamin D, vitamin E?
That's all.
B12?
Everything. Just go out in the sun. Go out in the sun for a half hour a day. You'll get all the
Fiber.
vitamin D you need.
What
You know
about
what-
fiber? What about
Fiber,
What about the fact
all I know
not
is
one
there's-
not one
I am-
vitamin is approved by the FDA? Why is that?
Keep in mind, guys, that 1,000 years ago there was no such thing as a vitamin supplement. Yet the human race somehow prospered enough where we're here,
We survived.
eating the real foods that they had. And most of the time they were hunter gatherers, and they only had vegetables seasonally. They didn't have them year round.
Survival of the fittest.
And
The
they
strongest,
didn't, and they fasted most of the time. Most of the time they never ate more than one meal
The
a day or every
caveman
other
was
day.
not fasting. He just
No,
couldn't
but-
run fast enough to get the deer.
Well, that's what caused him to fast. Anyway,
That's
hello,
right. That's what happened. And,
Sunrise.
yeah? But the life expectancy was 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it wasn't because again, all of those numbers and all those statistics are all bullshit. Because back in those days, the child mortality was 50%. Most humans never lived to be 5 years old. So what happens when you take and you figure in
Yes.
half the people dying at 5, it really knocks the shit out of the
And the
lifespan
other half
numbers.
at 70.
What day was that? What period was that? The kids didn't live to 5.
1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago,
Ah,
500 years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
I can't
I'm not gonna
dispute you on
pretend
that.
to
I
be
wasn't there like you.
a paleontologist or nothing like that, but
Medieval
the reason
times.
they
Nobody
believe that the
caught
life
that.
expectancy was 30s because of all the bones they found were of adults. They never reached beyond the age of 30. Whole 25.
No,
30.
but that's
It's
not true. That's
average.
just not true. Here's the problem, Lon. There's so much propaganda and bullshit out there, and it's all proffered
all
by all
boilerplate.
doctors and drug companies and food companies. They don't want you. They want you to think you got to eat all that manufactured crap.
Oh, I'm not arguing that. That's not my argument. I still think that the life expectancy was shorter back in the day.
You want
We
to
also didn't have the
interestingly
antibiotics and stuff like that.
Interestingly enough, that
Vaccines.
they all, if they did die, they died from accidents, from broken bones, from infections, from things. Now, it wasn't heart attacks and diabetes that killed them. It was all this other crap that we pretty much don't have to worry about today.
They have 10-year-olds with cirrhosis of the liver, like a
Honest to God,
alcoholic.
it's absolutely absurd.
And that's never been around 50 years ago.
I mean, in this country, people died sooner than they do now.
Well, they do because they're eating the recommended American diet. They're eating all the vegetable oils. They're eating all the polyunsaturated fats. They're eating 100 times more sugar than they ate 100 years ago, and it's killing them. And yet they want to tell us that that's healthy, and yet we're fatter and sicker. How is that healthy?
This is what I will say. Since Mitch turned me on to this diet,
No fat checks.
I've lost 25 pounds, 2 inches. I haven't exercised a lick, and all I've been eating is meat and fish and eggs and bacon and steak and
steak.
I mean, how can you beat it? Shit.
There's and I didn't invent this. I mean, I just did a lot of research, and I've been following the low carb diet all my life ever since Atkins. Way back when, turns out he was right, and they vilified the hell out of him, but he was absolutely right. It's the sugar and the polyunsaturated fats, the vegetable oils, which are not food.
Everything.
Yeah, sugar and all processed food is nothing but sugar, salt, and polyunsaturated fats. And that combination is deadly and causes every chronic disease that we have, including Alzheimer's and dementia. They've put these people that have Alzheimer's, they put them on a strict ketogenic diet, and the Alzheimer's reversed itself.
Well, you're arguing two
Where's
different
that?
things.
I want to see that.
You're arguing two different things. A minute ago, you were arguing against vegetables.
Right.
If you want to talk about
vegetables are a whole nother.
Hold on now.
He didn't say against.
Processed food. I'm on board with you. If you want to talk about sugars and cornstarch and
okay, well, let's talk about vegetables.
Polyunsaturated. I'm with you.
Let's talk about
vegetables.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to.
Yes, you
I
do.
started this for me. Okay, for me. All right. And I tell a few people who I care about it, and like my children and my friends and everyone that's done their own research, and I've kind of directed them in the way to do some research, has had their eyes opened up. Problem with vegetables, okay? Plants have some things called anti-nutrients in them, lectins. Okay, wheat, for example, has a lectin called gluten, and all of a sudden now gluten is bad. You got to have gluten-free everything. Well, gluten is one of a couple hundred different lectins that plants have, and plants evolved these things as kind of a chemical warfare against animals because if the plants can semi-poison the animals the animals won't eat them anymore, and that strain of plant will survive, and again, survival of the fittest. Well, these anti-nutrients do all kinds of terrible things to animals when they eat them. Okay, beans, for example, the deadliest poison in the world, ricin, is made from beans. Okay, if you were to
gives you
take
gas.
gas is because it just screws up your digestion. So this business about you got to eat fiber, you got to eat vegetables, you got to get your polyphenols. It's all been proven that these things do more harm for you than good. And some of the healthiest people in the world right now are the people that don't eat much of this stuff at all.
Here's the other thing I'm
Gibbons
going to say
died
real
on grape
quick.
nuts. Remember that.
Here's the other thing. is
Grape
the
nuts.
guys that do the let's say the videos and the channels, they're skinny. They're not fat people telling you how to eat.
No, they're healthy as hell.
So they practice what they preach.
And so many of these guys show you the before pictures on these videos too, where they lost 120 pounds and they were type 2 diabetics and they were on their deathbed, and now they're, healthy as a horse.
They're going to die in better
Okay.
health.
But I see a lot of healthy vegans too.
Well,
there's a lot of people
yes,
that are
yeah, and
world-class
that's a whole
athletes that
nother.
are vegans.
That's
I
a
also
whole
see
nother
fat
thing.
vegans.
Here's the deal about vegans, okay? A vegan, the first year they become pure vegan, they do great. 4 years later, it takes 4 years for that diet to effectively ruin the health of those people. And if you go on YouTube right now and search for videos of people that were vegan and are now carnivores, pure meat eaters, you'll find thousands of them, and each one of them tells the same story. They did great for a year. The problem with vegans is they have to suck all the stuff that they don't get. They get no vitamin B12. There's amino acids in animal products that don't exist in plants and vegetables, okay? That are essential nutrients for humans. There are no plant nutrients that are essential for humans. There's no carbohydrate that's essential for humans to live. Only thing that's essential for humans to live is animal products of any kind. Eggs, fish, meat.
So you're getting all your
overweight?
vitamins from a piece of steak?
Yeah.
Steak, fish, salmon, chicken. I eat a little bit of cheese, a little bit of dairy, butter, all that stuff. And
I want to know
all I can say is,
how many old fat people have you seen out there? And
Plenty.
and weight loss, do you? Yeah, but they're on how many different types of drugs?
yeah, they're on a million drugs. See, now I took a year off.
Heavy and healthy sometimes, but I don't. I
You
mean,
can be thin and sick
what did
too.
Rigor Mortis say? Rigor Mortis said
it
losing
depends.
weight is not an indication of health. No, not at all.
It's
You have
not.
skinny, unhealthy people, but that's
Yeah,
not
there
what
are.
this is about. It's about losing
However-
weight and staying healthy.
And staying healthy, and it's about your this cholesterol is another bunch of bullshit. All this cholesterol nonsense. All the studies that have come to light that they hide, that you'll never hear about on CNN, have shown that the people with the highest cholesterol are the ones with the lowest mortality rates.
If I
Can I
had
just-
sat
Can
there
I
and ate
interrupt real
bacon,
quick? Stevie, Captured Life Connection is here. Did you get the address for tomorrow? We're leaving Queens around 7.
To each their own. To each
Sorry.
their own. I
Absolutely.
personally, I'm
I
the board.
personally think
I'm
that
a-
you
I
guys should
get
all
the
eat
middle.
vegetables, so I have meat left for me. So everybody go out and eat fruits and vegetables,
Eat the vegetables so
so
that
that
they
you can
don't
save
take
the
our
meat
meat
for
away.
me. Bingo.
And I can only go by, and we're all different, and I can only go, but we're still all human. We're still maybe have some differences, but we're all basically come from the same place, and I could just go by me, Lon. Okay. All my life, I'm a fat guy. I was always a fat kid. I can gain weight. I'm a carbohydrate addict. If I start eating that shit, I can't stop. So all my life, I had to live a low carb lifestyle, and I stayed thin, and I was always perfectly healthy. My doctor would tell me I had the circulation of a 20-year-old, and yet my cholesterol was 250 to 300 all the time.
Wait.
Okay.
You don't get a fatty liver from. Go ahead.
Okay, so then a year and last March when COVID came on, I got all depressed and pissed off, and I just started eating crap. I just started eating ice cream and bullshit and all the junk food, and I gained 30 pounds. I got to the point I needed 2 different medications to control my blood pressure. I had a CAT scan done because I got kidney stones. They told me I had mild fatty liver disease. Okay. And all of a sudden, from a little over a year of eating this crap, I turned from a perfectly healthy 72-year-old into a sick 73-year-old. All right. So in February of this year, I said, fuck this. And I stopped completely. And I went on a very strict ketogenic diet. Okay. Within 2 months, I was off the blood pressure medication. My blood pressure is now like 115/65 every morning I take it. The fatty liver went away. I lost 30 pounds, and I've never felt better in my life, and I'm 74 years old. And I eat nothing but animal products.
Disappeared.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
fatty liver is the
Overnight.
first thing to go. That's the first thing to go.
That's why I'm
The
surprised
first
what
fat,
rigor
the
mortis said.
first fat you're going to lose when you get on a ketogenic diet is the fat the fat globules from inside your liver,
Right.
and that eventually progresses.
And you
to
think
cirrhosis.
the liver? Do you think the liver is doing this? It's the liver that's doing this, right?
Well, if you study the chemistry of the
Then what
biochemistry
the
of
fuck
what
is your gallbladder for? It produces the bile that cuts down the crap in your,
Yeah,
in your intestinal
well,
system.
that's just part. That's part of it, but the
Oh,
liver
my
does so much
God.
more than just bile, Jim. Look,
Okay,
I'm not going to
hey.
argue with you guys. You know, come on.
No,
now.
I
You
don't want to
study- you
argue with
study-
you, but I'd like to get a word in. I'm just saying. I think moderation is the key. You said I was eating a bunch of junk and garbage all day, and I gained a bunch of weight, and I was sick. Well, no shit. No one's advocating that you eat Doritos 3 meals a day.
It wasn't
No, no.
Doritos I was eating. It
I'm
wasn't
just saying.
Doritos.
No, you said you're eating junk food. Isn't that what he said? Or is
Well,
that-
to me,
that's-
junk food is French fries,
It's
and
also
fried
stuff that you
fish
buy
and
that's put in
fried
your
chicken
freezer.
and all the stuff that's considered the
Processed
standard
food.
diet in America.
Processed food
Okay.
is junk food.
Processed food. Look,
Okay. But to
There's
each their
no-
own. I just think moderation.
I think
the middle
everybody
ground
should
is
eat
found
all
here.
the
That's all I'm
carbs in the
saying.
If
world.
you're-
I don't agree with vegans either. I think they're way over here, and then all the carnivores are way over here. And I think people should be somewhere in here. That's all.
So how much
Well-
how much cocaine do you give a cocaine
we have to
addict?
agree to
wait,
we
wait,
have to
wait.
agree
How
to
much
disagree.
cocaine do
That's
you-
all.
How much cocaine do you give a coke addict? Just a little bit in moderation?
In moderation, yeah. This is such a
When you think
all
about
the
that.
crap. Everything in moderation. Well,
Or
everything in moderation can kill you.
Do
You
you
know.
put a little bit of shit fuel in your gas tank when you drive and the rest is good? Like, would that be moderation? It's kind of the same thing.
All I can do,
No, it's nothing.
you
to
know,
do with
all
it.
I can look. I don't. Between you and me, I like you guys, but I don't love any of you. Not like I love my children. I care about my children, whether they live or die. You guys, you got my blessing. You do whatever you want.
Right.
The only thing I try to do is these things are now proven facts, like so many other things that the world and our government doesn't want to rock the boat of the drug industries and the food industries and the doctors, and they want to control our healthcare. They want to control everything. Look what they did to us with COVID. They like the fact that people are sick and rely on them. They don't want. You think the medical community and the AMA and the Heart Association wants everybody to be perfectly healthy? Put them out of business. You know, they're crooks and criminals, and they're killing
My
us with
favorite,
their stupid advice. And if you found out the reality of it, you'd be as pissed off about it as I am.
my
So
favorite
all I
is-
can do is change what I do. Okay,
Right.
and I did, and
Right.
I did.
my favorite
Right.
thing is how they
And
help
everybody
me
in
manage
the
the
industry are a bunch of
diabetes.
angels, right?
What'd you say? I'm
You know,
sorry.
everybody in the meat industry are a bunch of choir boys.
I didn't hear that.
No.
Say it again.
Like the meat is all safe. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the
Ron?
meat
Because
industry
it's all
guys are all a bunch
inspected.
of choir boys.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
inspected.
the best.
You know,
I'll tell you what, I'd rather eat the worst meat than the best vegetables between you and me.
to each their own is what I'm saying. I was just debating. I'm not arguing because
No,
everybody
Well,
I
in
agree.
my life, everybody gets to make their own decisions.
You know what?
I'm
You
with
sound
I
like
don't care
Carlos.
what other people eat. Really,
This
you guys can
conversation,
eat
Lon.
bugs and root worms. You can eat bugs and worms all day and tell me that's healthy, and I'll be like, okay.
You
Well,
probably
you
Yeah,
start
yeah.
making
I'll
foods
ask
that
you about
last
it, though.
70 years on the shelf. That's when this shit started with the TV dinners and all that crap. If you can make a food that'll stand there and be eatable in 20 years from the freezer section of your grocer, there's something
You know,
wrong.
The ingredient of
Carlos-
your food should be one ingredient, maybe two.
Carlos, tell me if the stuff that Lon is saying right now isn't some of the exact same stuff you said to me when I first suggested this diet to you. Exactly, Lon. He said the same arguments, the same company line that you hear from Dr. Oz on TV and all this other crap. And all I said to him was, Carlos, you're going to do what you want to do, but here's a couple of people that you should go listen to.
Research it.
And he did. He went off and listened to a couple of people a couple of doctors that have YouTube channels that have evidence and have studies and the real things that for 30, 40 years they've been doing this, and they have the answers and they explain the biochemistry. And then you say to yourself, well, that really makes sense. It makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint, because we are not dissimilar from cavemen as far as physiology goes. And they weren't having heart attacks and cancer and all those kinds of diseases.
They weren't.
And we know that because we have the technology to decide. We can look at the bones of these people we dig up and tell what they ate, what their diet was. We can tell all this stuff now.
Let's talk about something that Adrian doesn't do: drones and fly drones.
Well,
No.
I'll tell you guys, I'm passionate about it. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this.
I think they want to hear drone stuff, not food stuff.
You get me started, and we'll go at this all night. But I'm going to leave you guys. I'm going to leave you guys to your drones, and I'm going to let Carlos take up the mantle of trying to convince everybody to eat more meat.
Oh no, I don't want to.
Well, it's not more meat; it's only meat. That's the only part that I have.
No, fish.
I don't have a
No,
problem. with it.
it's animal. It's mostly animal product. There are some fruits. There are some berries. You can eat blueberries and raspberries. There are some vegetables that aren't too harmful, but beans, for example, legumes, are the worst. That's why they tell you when you get a bag of uncooked beans, they tell you, number one, you got to soak it overnight. Okay. Or you'll hurt yourself. So you soak the beans overnight. Then they tell you got to cook them in a pressure cooker. They tell you got to do all these things to try to get rid of all of these chemical warfare agents that the plants have manufactured in plant foods, and they're called lectins. And the worst one is gluten. It causes what they call leaky gut, which causes virtually everything. Celiac disease. You've heard of that. Well, all of these plants have that stuff in them. They're not food for. They're really not ever meant to be food for humans. They're food for cows and grazing animals, and they turn it into steak, which we eat, and it's delicious. All right, guys, I'll leave you with that. I'm tired.
Have a good night.
Carlos, take care. Line,
You're
good
welcome.
to see you.
Have
Adrian,
a good night,
you
Mitch.
good?
Thank you for coming in, buddy.
Jim, Chris, sorry I didn't mean to get off on a medical thing here, but
Nah, I brought it up.
you brought it up. Well, you should know better.
I brought about my lost weight. I'm happy I lost. I'm 25 pounds lighter than when you guys saw me in Florida. I'm
But
happy.
see,
Yeah.
but see, hey, before you leave, Mitch, Carlos, I'm the same way. I was 170 pounds. I'm down to 145 just by eating. I still eat, but I just eat way less than what I used to eat before.
Are you hungry all the time?
No, I'm not.
Good.
All right, then you're eating the right kinds of foods. Because we're never hungry. I eat one meal a day now, Lon. One meal a day, and I'm never hungry.
But
It's
see,
incredible.
I'm not starving myself either, but I'm not eating as much as I used to before.
Yeah, you have to. All right, guys. Good night. See you
Good
later.
night.
Thank you for coming in,
Notes.
Mitch.
You're welcome.
Eat
See
a
you,
cow.
Chris.
Eat a cow.
No, eat a cow.
Love you, Mitch.
Heck, I love steak. I eat ribeyes every meal of the day.
That's what I've been eating for the last 2 days.
Hey, rigor mortis. Thank you for coming in, buddy.
Ribeye, bacon. Love it. Eggs.
So,
And even Drone Bum. Yeah, he's here. He's down
hey, Mr.
16
Drone
pounds.
Bum, how you doing, buddy?
He's gonna watch. One day he's gonna have no belly. He's gonna look like freaking Mr. America. And he's doing the same thing. So is Drone Psyche. It works. If it didn't work, I wouldn't tell you. But I think you guys should all eat vegetables and save the meat for me.
I just think everybody has their own thing, because I could, I hear what Mitch is saying, but there's plenty of people on the vegetarian and vegan side that got all their truth and their facts too. They'll sit there and talk your ear off too about, how it's so much better not to eat animals and blah 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 blah. I'm saying, everybody's got their own truth, I guess. And you guys might be right.
Well,
I don't know.
that is a I guess a true statement, but there has to be one truth, right? There can't be two. Like 2 + 2 is always 4. Even though I know diet is not as exact like that, there has to be some truth.
So there's GMOs too, and there's all that stuff, the hormones and whatnot. Everybody's talking about in the meat industry that's supposedly bad for you too.
Well, then I guess you have to buy. Oh, what do they call that?
Organic?
Grass-fed. Yeah. If you really if you're that. But like Mitch said, he'd rather eat a hormone piece of meat than a TV dinner with processed, ingredients. And I think
I'm
they're
with
going to
you on
still
the
be ahead of the
process,
game.
like I said. I agree on the process. Is when the statement was made, "Don't eat any vegetables." I was like, "What?"
No, he never
That's
said
where I
that.
got him
No. I think what he said
Yes,
is
he did say that.
No,
He did
I
say
think
that,
he
yeah,
said
didn't he?
vegetables that grow underground. If anything, he said stick to the ones above ground.
Well, you said that.
No, he said that. Got to listen.
Okay.
That's where I
Well,
like.
anyway, so you guys are talking about that trust test, huh?
I'm not taking it. Chris, are you taking it? Did you take it?
Yeah, I took it.
And then you print out the card?
Yep.
And now you carry it every time you go fly?
Yep.
It's in back. It's on Bill Foldman's Social Security card now.
That and my
And
107
who
and
do
the
you think-
certificates with it, the recertification certificates are in the wallet.
Who do you think
Nothing
is going
wrong
to
with
be
it.
the
I
first
carry my
person
driver's
that's gonna
license,
ask
too.
you for it?
Absolutely no one, except
Okay.
for maybe you.
Exactly. Let me see.
Why are you so against it, Carlos?
Okay, because you keep giving in to this freaking government that has you by the balls and you can't do anything. Keep giving up your rules and your
Your
rights. and
driver's license says it's a privilege, not a right. It
I
says it right on
understand
it.
that. I understand that, but the Constitution says I have the freedom to go, and just go forward and about my business. Leave me alone.
But the airplanes that fly in the sky, they actually pay to go from airport to airport. There's
Here's what-
airport fees.
But what does
Here's
that
it
have?
does-
What does that have to do with laws that keep taking
You're-
away
you're
from you?
not paying.
Here's what it does for
Free.
me, Carlos. It cuts down on all the BS if you ever get asked. Sir, do you have your license? Yes. Sir, do you have that? Yes. That should be the end of the story. You don't get harassed no more. You don't get your name and run. You don't get put in the system any more than it already is. It just cuts out on all the bullshit. That's my thinking.
See, I see it this way. Officer or whoever is the representative of the state tells you, put your drone down, you're bothering people. Okay, goodbye. I don't want to give him my ID. I don't want to show him a piece of paper. Like when Matt Condiff showed that guy at the beach ID, I wouldn't have showed him ID. Who the hell are you? Call the
No, I
police.
wouldn't have either.
Hell no. I mean,
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is we give up our rights too easy, and I'm not about that. I'm sorry.
No, I've
it's-
said call the police many times, and 5 times the police were here because they have to answer a call, not because you were doing anything wrong.
Correct.
And they got to the point where they don't even need they already know that I have all my appropriate paperwork.
Right.
But I don't even need it to fly when I'm flying in the neighborhood.
Here's like I said, Carlos. The problem with America right now, in my opinion, only
Mm-hmm.
if you do what you are asked when somebody in enforcement comes to you, you don't have problems. You don't have issues.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir. Here
Police.
you go. In the
Yes.
story.
And
But
then
that's-
if they are wrong, complain after the fact.
Then we go on past that the next day. Not
Right.
not at that moment.
Right.
You do what you do. You leave and go on.
That's
And
it.
if you want to pursue it, that's your prerogative.
Yeah. I walk away.
I've seen a couple of guys get their equipment taken away from them.
In what state?
I don't keep track of the states. The videos are on YouTube.
Oh, it's on video. Oh, I thought it by you in Florida, maybe.
No. I haven't had that happen here. In fact, Florida is one of the most drone-friendly states there is. By legislation, they are for drones since 2014.
Listen, I
but
was in
anyway,
a park. I was in a park that's AMA certified for flying drones. People are flying drones, and then these FPV guys, when I wasn't into FPV, are flying these freaking rockets and they're flying in and out of the circle where you're supposed to be flying, and they're not even in the circle flying. They're outside the park. So first I confronted the guy. Then I go to the park police. I said, blah, blah, blah. This is happening. This is happening. He looked at me like, yeah. And this was a guy, you know, he had a gun. It wasn't just the parkie that cleans up garbage. He could care less. He didn't know what to tell me. He didn't know what to say. There's no
And yet, there
enforcement.
are police in
I'm telling
other
you.
states that turn around and take your equipment. Remember that guy, Chris? Who was that dude? All he did was go above a building. He was filming the looting or something like that.
Yeah.
He was, and they took his drone and arrested him and gave him fines and shit. Eventually, he will beat all that crap. But
It's gonna
like
be
Chris
more-
is saying,
It's going
why
to
go through
cost
it?
more than a
Yeah,
fine.
but I tell you what, that FAA card or the trust card wouldn't have helped them either.
No.
So that's my point. So what good is it?
Well,
I-
it may have. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
No, why?
I don't know why he would have even been stopped. Well, if he was a Part 107, he could say, I'm taking news video. And this is my Second Amendment to media right. Get the hell out of here.
At that point in time when that happened, there wasn't nothing anybody could do to avoid him going to jail.
Right.
He was going. It didn't matter.
They made up their mind, and that was it.
Here's my reason. Here's the only reason why I think that trust thing is a good thing. Hear me out.
Education.
Hear me out. Yeah, exactly. If people prancing into Walmart or Best Buy buy a Mavic Mini and it's in their minds that they got to go on this a website and go over this information, you know, then that's a net positive.
We need
Yeah.
to make it
Can I
mandatory,
say
Lon.
something? Can I say something in regards to
We
what
need
you
to
just
make
said?
it mandatory.
I believe that's true, but I don't believe the government cares enough, because if the government cared enough, they would say to Best Buy, B&H, you are not allowed to sell a drone unless somebody comes in with a trust. Then you sell it. You don't do it ass backwards and sell the shit and then hope.
Well,
that
now
they
I
take it.
think you're getting into federal trade regulations. I'm not sure. Don't ask me.
It's
I
like
don't
getting
know.
a license before I get a car. It's like getting car insurance before I put it on
You
the
can
road.
buy a car without a driver's
Yeah,
license.
you buy a car without
No,
a
I understand, but what I'm saying, driving it on the road legally, you need a license, and I guess in most states, right? You need
And
car
uninsured
insurance.
motorist is mandatory in Florida because there's a lot of uninsured drivers down here.
Okay, so
That's
then
true.
they
That's
take
true,
care
Mike.
of
He did
stuff
say that.
first, and then they. So it makes
Take a
sense.
picture of it.
Take the
Again.
trust, and then come to B&H Photo and buy your drone. Otherwise, you don't
All
get
right.
one.
Let's address what Mike Kenny just said. You
What did he
don't have
say?
to carry it. You can have a picture of it on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You print it in a PDF. That's how
That
I
makes
that's how I saved it.
But the
Like-
whole thing is, and I agree with you, Lon, 110%. It's purely for safety. It's not made to fail. Neither is the Part 107. If you take it, it's all common sense. I heard somebody who's on a famous channel with 6,000 subscribers say, what do I need to know about the clouds for? What's with the cloud? Because what is a storm cloud? What's happening on the outsides of the storm cloud? A hell of a lot of wind. That's what's happening. And your drone's ass is getting taken. So there are simple safety reasons for knowing these things. Then none of it is made to fail.
I understand that, but to me, it seems like somebody wants to have a piece of paper to present to somebody who's going to bother you to tell you to stop your drone. That's what it seems like the paper is for, more than education.
You can't convince people, I'm not saying you,
Yeah, I understand.
the people in the neighborhood that a drone 100 feet high can't see your face. They think you're spying on them still to this day. We're into this 6 years now, and they still think you're spying on them. Nobody gives a crap about you.
I like what Rigger said, and Rigger, you're right.
Exactly.
You're exactly right.
That's what I'm saying. You give in to the laws too quickly. Okay, is that what you want me to do? Okay. And bullshit. You gotta
Fight it. Like Chris says, fight it tomorrow.
No, you fight it by not doing it. Listen,
Well,
that's
then you
how
go to jail and get a lawyer.
That's how I handled the COVID. You think I'm going to follow because Biden tells me, or anybody tells me, or Dr. Fauci told me to wear a mask and clean my hands? I'm going to go do it.
Listen,
That's
I got
public. I'm not a
videotape. I got videotape of me walking into Walmart, picking up all the blue gloves off the ground. That people, when they come out of
That's what I'm
Walmart, they just
saying.
throw them on the ground.
But because people were told,
Do I have COVID? No.
Listen, they actually stayed away from parents and grandparents for almost a year because they were told, because they were Informed by
They were sheep.
science. Exactly.
Well,
Sheeple. I
same with
refuse to
keto.
be no, why?
Well, you
I'm
just said
living
they were
proof.
informed by science. That's what keto is, right?
No, keto is proven
Oh.
science.
Oh.
I mean, you do know that the vaccine is still a test. It's
No,
not.
there's a variant now.
No,
No
but
vaccine is
this is-
100%. There's a variant
forget
D
about-
now.
You're part of a test. This hasn't been tried and tested. I saw it on the news. The doctor, I don't know what channel. The vaccine is a test. This is not concrete evidence. People are getting what do they call it? Inflamed hearts.
They've been caught
Women are
on
having
tape
problems.
saying that the paper mask doesn't do anything. Just sheep are still wearing
Look,
them.
Mike Night Train made a point many months ago. He said, "Let me see. I'm gonna fart through my pants and my boxers, and you're gonna smell it. You're gonna tell me a mask is gonna help you? Come on. What do you think you're smelling? You're smelling shit particles in your brain." So,
Well, a virus is a nanometer, so
It's
come
all-
on, man.
I mean, people were as ridiculous to tell landscapers to not use the blower because it's going to blow the virus over. I mean, that's what they were thinking about in Long Island, Jim. I can't.
What
make
about
that
the
up.
wind?
Ex-
What about your onshore breeze?
That's why I'm saying people are numbnuts, and then people listen, and people make laws, and people follow. And I refuse. It's not because I want to be. I just if it's sound information, I'll listen. If
In
it's
this
sound advice, I
situation-
will listen.
With drones, we are the first generation in this fight, and we need to be sticking together. We need to be FPV and camera drone pilots need to be one, and we all need to be carrying this torch together.
But
Yeah, well-
hey, Carlos, but if
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not mistaken, aren't we supposed to follow the rules? Aren't we supposed to follow the law?
What law?
I'm saying,
In
I
general?
think if I understood you correctly, is that there's laws, regulations that needs to be followed, but yet you feel because you're tired of being told what to do, you're not going to do it.
Okay, there's a law of do not murder, do not steal. Those laws, yes.
Of course.
There's certain laws that I don't, like these drone laws. I'm gonna fly because I have the freedom to fly. I don't have to be told by you not to fly. And
Yeah,
if
but
you
the
really
Supreme
think,
Court
if
said
you really
86
think
feet.
about it, the only
Yeah.
reason we're getting headaches is because big business, big money, has interest in making more big money, and they're gonna try to take any kind of obstacles that are in their way out of the way.
To me, it's the media saying people are flying drones. People think drones are military reapers going over their house, and we're controlling shit that's spying on them and all. It's a media created fear that doesn't need to be.
I'm sorry,
That's
I
pretty
refuse to be a
typical of
sheep.
everything. The media drums up 90% of the
Listen, one thing that
the problems we have in
Drone
society.
Worship made a good point I was talking to him on the phone one time, and he made a good point. He goes, if people didn't watch news, the government couldn't control you. So keep watching news.
So
But hey, Carlos. Now that's the reason why I ask you is basically what Sandra just went ahead and said. I mean, I agree with you. You know what I mean? We'll have a First Amendment right. We'll have freedom of speech, freedom of whatever we want to believe. I could easily tell you, you know what I mean? Hey, I don't like what you're saying. Fuck off.
pick
But
and
is that
choose.
going to make it any better? I mean, I'm just trying to understand where you
Okay,
coming from.
okay,
Hold on.
listen.
Wait a minute. Give me a minute. Like,
Okay, I
I
thought you were
respect what you're
finished.
saying. I respect what you're saying.
Mhm.
I hear you loud and clear. Like, I'm a guy that I have over 47 guns. I love guns. But I'm told by certain people, hey, you shouldn't have that much guns. Well, who the fuck are you to tell me that? I got my guns legally. I'm following the rules. I'm following the law. Who the
Okay.
fuck are you to tell me that I can't have 47 guns because you believe that someday I'm gonna go
Well, the
nuts and I'm
government,
gonna
if the
start killing
government,
people?
and when the government tells you you can't have them, you're going to be the first one in line saying, okay, you said to do it. I'm running and giving you my guns.
And I hear you loud and clear, but I guess until we get there, I'm gonna do what
But you're
I'm
not breaking the
supposed to do
law.
to stay legal.
Yeah, you're not breaking the law.
Correct.
But here's the thing. Why is it harder for me to get a gun than you in this state? Why are different
Because
laws?
you live in New York City.
Yeah,
you
but
live
you
in
I'm
New York,
sorry,
and if I'm not, and if but see, hold on. That's one thing that I've
you
talked to a lot
guys
of you
have
guys about.
more population in Florida than we have in New York.
Right.
Well, hold on. Not just that, Carlos, because if I'm not mistaken, hold on, if I'm not mistaken, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, California, Illinois, there's a whole bunch of state that runs on the bullshit where, like the gun-free zone bullshit, where in Florida, I have, and including Texas, we have more where I guess
We have more people that carry guns than don't.
Correct. I guess I could say that.
Okay, so what's your point?
I mean, for example, in the state of Texas, they have open carry. In the state of Florida,
what's
we
your
don't.
point?
Here's
Why
the
do
point.
you have
point.
it easy and I have it hard? Because I have idiots
Well,
making
Because
laws.
of your governor.
I have
Because of your
idiots.
governor.
I have idiots that are here running, and that's why I'm saying. So I have to follow every stupid rule that they tell me to follow, when I know
Well,
that the rules are freaking stupid.
Why is it still a Democratic state then? If there's so many people that
I don't
think
want to
like
get into
you,
the politics. What I'm getting at is this is the reason I don't follow everything that everybody tells me, because in one state it's this way, in another state it's this way. Down in Long Island, I can go buy a rifle and keep it in my house, but in the 5 boroughs, I have to register it and do all, and I can't have it. I can't have a gun. So
the
why
only
is
thing you
that?
can have is a shotgun, correct?
I mean, if you no, I can't even have that. But what I'm
can't even have a shotgun?
what I'm trying to get at is, so I cross 5 feet or 10 feet if I'm on the border and I'm legal. If I go on this side, I'm illegal. What kind of laws are those to follow?
That's your governor.
It's bullshit,
Right.
is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's
I
not
agree.
by
And
accident,
here's the other thing. I know every one of you have sped over 5 miles an hour over the speed limit.
though. Right.
Okay, so you broke the law, and you probably
Yes.
do it daily, and you probably
Yes.
don't stop completely at a stop sign. So
Yes,
you
I do.
and you probably choose which laws you want to follow. I know that if you make $10 or $15 off the books, you're going to report it on your income tax because that's the law. And when you get a tip, you're going to report it because that's a law. And when you get a Christmas gift from the clients that you
What's
work
that got
for,
to do with the drones, where you're
it has
choosing
to
not
do
to
no,
do
it has to do
anything?
with following laws. No, I was talking. Well, no, because I think it's stupid. I don't think it's their business to tell me where I can and can't fly. If I'm
That's
doing it,
fair
if
enough.
I'm doing
I
it,
mean, that's fair
if
enough.
I am doing it in a responsible way, I don't need FAA to tell me how to do it. That's
Carlos, I don't think that you're flying that drone in that mall around those people was a responsible grown man thing to do.
why.
I enjoyed watching it.
Why
but
was
I
it
still
not
don't think it was
responsible?
a responsible
Tell me why.
Because what if it drops out and hits some little kid in a
It wouldn't hurt him. I
Stroller.
could go at full speed at a little kid and it
Okay.
wouldn't hurt him. That's why
Okay.
it's
I'm not going to argue the point with you. I never have and I never will.
No, but what I'm saying is
I
there
just have
are
a 107 and I've got a trust card, and if I've
They
got
are
certificates of
different risks.
authorization, and if they make another rule tomorrow, I'll follow that rule.
and here's the other thing. They are people that sell these little flying helicopters and they fly them in the mall to show the people how it works, and the same accident could happen. Yes or
They're
no?
just as stupid. Just because
That
other
is
people
true.
are stupid don't
That's
mean
what I'm
saying.
that
That is
it
true,
erases
because I've seen
everybody else as stupid.
It's not a
Two
matter of
crookeds don't make
stupid.
it straight.
It's not a matter of stupid. It's a matter of it's a calculated risk.
I have seen
There are
the
calculated
kiosks.
risks. No, I'm just saying certain
I have
risks.
seen the kiosks.
I would not fly a propless bird in a mall or around people. And if you see me fly around,
What about the
drone
guy who
bombs,
sees your video and then does fly a 6S propless,
but that's
prop
his
cardless
fault.
in there?
How about all the people that watch shows on TV about murder and killing, and they hear it on the news, and then they go copycat it, or they played a video game? That's the same excuse. You have to have personal responsibility. It has to be your parents to teach you. You
Wait,
can't
put
have
that
the
one
gov-
back up. Put Matt Condiff's comment back
Does the
up.
government have to watch what you do, or is it your parents?
If it's in the mall and you hit my kid with that drone, you'll never make it out of the mall. And,
I'm sure
and
I will.
agree with him 100%.
I'm sure I will. I don't give a shit. Sorry, shit happens. Because if somebody,
if I'm carrying you, Mo.
if somebody was running and ran into his kid and hurt him, he wouldn't punch him because the guy had an accident. An accident is an accident. Now, if you want to choose which accident to fight over, I'm for it. Let's do it.
But you're choosing to create an environment in which an accident can't happen.
No, because it's calculated. And I know that this thing at 100 feet falling down will not hurt anyone. I know that for a fact. That's what I'm
You're
saying.
calculating risk with other people, though. You know what I mean? It's
But
okay.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
it's okay to calculate
it's not
my
gonna
risk.
hurt. No, I understand what you're saying, Juan, but I know that the hurt factor, the injury factor is not going to happen. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, but they don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. It's like the people that say my dog won't bite. You know, that I don't care. Keep your dog away from my kid. He's got teeth. I don't care if you think he won't bite or not.
Right.
I guess I'm hearing what you're saying, Carlos, but what Jim?
I want to say something real quick. Acting like a fool is acting like a fool, no matter who does it. So if you're acting like a fool, you're a fool. Now, if somebody acts like a fool, I don't have to copy him. But if I do what I want to do and somebody wants to copy me and they think I'm acting like a fool, then they shouldn't do it. But I don't copy fools. I do my thing.
We have to simply abide by the few little tiny rules that they make, which are all about safety and nothing else, in order for this to continue as a hobby, or they will regulate it right out of our hands. If I don't see any new FAA AMA sites or new FRIA sites coming up, and there's only an 18-month period for that to happen. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen in January 20th was the clock starting of 18 months. What's going to happen then?
Listen, I haven't been arrested. I'm not worried about it. If you guys want to follow the laws, follow the laws. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. It's his risk.
Right.
Prerogative.
He's the one who's going to pay the price. So
Exactly.
you know.
And I'm not making anybody look bad, because a tiny whoop compared to a drone is pathetic. It's not even close. This is how big the tiny whoop is. It's like the size of an AT650 battery.
I've had yours hit me.
Oh, that's right.
It was like a gnat. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's why I'm saying it was calculated risk. It wasn't something that was going to hurt somebody. So I didn't think anything of it.
I sure as shit don't want to be the one flying that and have it go into somebody's baby carriage. That's for damn sure. The results of that are what I deserve.
No, I don't think people would get upset unless you hurt the child. Have you ever seen a dog run up to a baby or a child, a loose dog or a little dog?
Yeah,
Could do the same thing. It could bite them just as easy, because kids don't know how to treat a dog.
I've seen a kid get bit by a dog.
And it could be the cute littlest dog, and the kid doesn't know how to act with a dog because a kid is a kid, and he grabs the tail or he grabs it by some wrong part of the body, and the dog's not going to like it. Okay, so now what? You're going to punch the dog owner because the dog bit your son or daughter?
Because the dog was off the lead?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the dog was off the lead in public and bit my kid.
Hey,
that's the end for that dog.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hey, Carlos, here in the state of Florida, the law is that if you have a dog, it has to be in a leash 24/7.
Same here.
Now, if your dog is running loose on my property, I'm in my property, and the dog comes after me, I have the right to hurt that dog or shoot that goddamn dog if it's trying to attack me.
No. Let me tell you something. If a dog comes to me and I'm not on my property, I have the right to kill that dog because
on my property.
No. Out of the prop. I don't have to be on property.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
If a dog comes after me, I'm gonna defend myself.
You didn't hear everything I said. I said on my property or out of my property.
No, you didn't say that. You said on my property.
No, because you never let me finish.
But the point has nothing to do with whether it's on your property or not. It has to do with the dogs coming at you, period.
Right.
Okay, so then property has nothing to do with it.
Okay, all right. But
that owner chose not to follow the law.
Okay, hold on. But on that same all right, hold on. But on that same token, like what my kind of was trying to say is that if you were flying your drone, you flying it, you're responsible, but you hit my kid with a drone.
Right.
I'm gonna confront you like, hey, bleep, 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 bleep. What the are you doing? You know what I mean? You hit my kid,
and then I'll deal with it at the time.
Hold on. And then if you start with that bumping of the lip, you might get me upset enough. Now I want to fight you because you hurt my kid, and now you're running your mouth the wrong way.
No. What I'm running my mouth is sorry it happened. That's it. I'm running my mouth with you. I'm not running my mouth. You think I'm going to hit a kid and have an attitude after I make a mistake? I know when I made a mistake. A mistake is a mistake. But now let's kind of compare it to the
completely avoidable mistake, by the way.
Prison sentence matching the crime. Now, if you want to fight over it, let's go. But if we can talk about it, and I'm sorry, if your kid is not injured, and listen, I was in a park and I flew into a little girl right into her chest. She was moving while I was flying. Whose fault is it? It's mine because I'm flying. She ran from
it's-
another.
it's-
She ran
look,
from another part of the field.
Look, you're
and
talking.
ran while
You're
I was
also
flying.
talking about a 65 millimeter, okay? But you hold the same attitude as a 5-inch 6S.
No,
When I've seen people flying Phantom
no.
4s.
Don't hold the same attitude because I don't fly anywhere near or the same with a 3-inch or a 5-inch or even a 2.5.
So if you had a
bird that
5-inch, then
that
you would
had
take the
props.
trust test.
No, that has nothing to do with the test. I'm
Okay.
talking about where I fly, how I fly. That's what has to do with the size of the bird.
So
That's what I'm talking
do you have anything against learning the
No.
safety rules?
No, my point is that I don't feel like I have to. Listen, do you remember Nazi Germany when you went over the borderline? What did you have to present? Your papers. Do you want to keep presenting papers? First, it's going to be the license, then the
Wait a minute.
ID.
Wait a minute. First
Wait,
of all,
let me
that
finish.
came from World War I when the Treaty of Versailles, when Germany was held to couldn't do a God blessed thing. So
Listen,
that was
I'm
a
not-
country revolting.
I'm not doing Nazi Germany. Show your papers. Show me your papers. Show me your vaccine card. Show me your ID. Show me your license. Give me a break. You know how
No.
many people have gone through the border and have refused to show them their ID because they don't have the right to ask for it, and they get away with it. They go right through the border, right through those border crossings because the government, you keep giving them and giving them. And watch. If you listen, if you guys like doing it, all power, more power to you. Sorry.
No,
Each their own.
you're changing the subject 50 different ways. I'm
Okay.
talking only about drones.
Okay, I'm not going to take the trust. Period.
That's fair enough. He doesn't. I don't think the trust test is for people that have been flying 10 years anyway.
Right.
That's my opinion. Like I said, I feel like this whole trust thing is mostly for new flyers and stuff like that. That's just my opinion. That's
kind
the
of
main
agree.
goal. That's the main goal of it, to have some benchmark.
I have
You know
a
what I
question.
mean?
How much
Where
responsibility?
people come into the hobby. There's some, because most people just stroll into Best Buy, Walmart, whatever, buy a drone. Sandra Boyd, for example, super nice lady, I'm sure, but she strolled into Walmart one day to buy some bread or whatever and saw a drone and bought it and went home and charged it up and started flying it around. And it's not a bad idea to have some benchmark, some level, some,
Whose
something.
responsibility should it be? DJI or B&H Photo or whatever, Best Buy, for
Listen.
selling the drone to somebody who crashed it into somebody without having proper instruction?
You buy a TV these days, it doesn't even come with a manual. Everything you buy, you have to go online to get
That's
the
not my
manual
point. We're
for
talking
now.
about license now.
And when we're talking about the drones, it should be mandatory to take something like the trust test and know
Prior.
the basic rules prior
Prior.
to flying it.
That's why.
It is
That's why.
mandatory.
No, not prior to buying it. After buying it.
no.
That's why
I
I
bought
think
that.
the law is crap. Listen. You know how many highway patrol police are out there giving tickets? Why don't they just have those speed cameras and do away with them? Why can't they have a 55-mile-an-hour speed camera every 5, 6, 7 miles to make sure everybody's speeding or not speeding? Because they're really not interested in upholding the law. If they were, that's what they would do. They do it by schools. They do it by streets, and it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. But if you believe they really have your safety and concern in mind, okay.
Have
I
you
don't
seen
buy
the
it.
test? That's all it talks about.
We
No,
can
I'm-
make cars. We can make cars right now not break the speed limit.
Yeah.
They could put GPS units in all the cars,
or
and they
governor.
would read the speed limit, and they would never break the speed limit. No matter how hard you push the accelerator,
Yep.
the car would never go over 55, 70, 35, 45, whatever. The reason they don't do that is because people aren't going to go for it. People can't handle NFCs on DJI drones. They don't allow them to land their drone on the runway at the airport. They're all pissed off about that. Could you imagine if cars wouldn't speed anymore? People would lose their minds. But that would be the way to handle it if they really cared about everyone's safety. They would just make all the cars follow.
You know what? Let me say something real quick for this Brandt guy. Nobody's arguing, Brandt, so cut your shit. Nobody is fucking arguing here. This guy pisses me off sometimes. Just talk. And are you arguing with me, Lon?
What?
You arguing with me?
No,
Are
No.
you anybody here arguing?
no.
No.
All right. So
I'll be
cut the
honest with you. I
bullshit.
don't.
Nobody's
I'm a
arguing.
libertarian.
Nobody's
My
fucking arguing.
my starting
Bullshit.
point is I
That's
don't
why
care
you
what
live in
anybody
Canada.
does.
Stay there.
Period. That doesn't affect
Piss me off.
me. I get upset when people affect me.
Exactly.
So if you're flying your drone around my head, that's when I might get upset. When you're flying your drone around Jim's head, that's between you and Jim. I don't
Exactly.
get involved in that shit.
Exactly.
I don't care what you do, what you eat, what laws you break, whatever.
night,
Go home and beat
Ariels.
your wife every night. It
Don't
don't
let
mean
the
nothing to me.
fucking YouTube button hit you in the ass. Had enough. The fuck out of here. Sorry,
No,
Adrian.
no, and I think my point I can only say from me, because I've seen I've told everybody, you guys have heard a million times, the guy with the Phantom 4, he's holding it up at the park where my kid is playing, and his cell phone falls out of the controller. He didn't know how to put the tabs on to put his cell phone in the thing. That's what Lon's talking about. Going to Walmart, buying a Phantom 4, and then going out and flying it, not knowing any rules or how to control the damn thing.
Whose responsibility?
It's
So
his.
whose responsibility is it?
It's his.
The pilot, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
So why do they make it hard to get guns?
So
Don't they try? Never mind. I was going to
yeah,
say
you see,
something, but never mind.
you can't go off on that tangent. That everybody will fight 15 different ways when it comes to guns.
Yeah.
50 different ways because every state has different gun laws. I agree with Carlos to an extent, but on the other hand, we have a hand in what laws are passed
Right.
in everybody's state. It's the way people voted.
Hey, Long, give me a minute. Let me answer Brent
Rigor
Ariels.
mortis? Oh,
Hey, everybody. Yeah, by the way, Brent Ariels is Gary. I don't know if you actually met him before.
Yeah.
On the channel, Carlos or what's not. He happens to be a good person. I believe he lives in Canada, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just to answer him, I did not think it was going to be into an argument. Like, I don't think that anybody here is arguing. We all just having a discussion. We have, opinions. I respect everything that Carlos is saying.
you don't have to agree,
In what Jim is saying, anybody in the chat.
and nobody
However,
has to agree.
Hold on, give me just because we have different opinions, that don't mean that we're arguing or we're not talking to each other. You know what I mean? Carlos happens to be somebody that believes strongly in what he believes. So arguing is not even in the picture. We're just talking.
And it also, just for the record, doesn't mean that tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday I'm not going to talk to Jim or
Yeah.
It's this. There's no hard feelings at the end of the day. We can agree to disagree, or you can agree to disagree with me, and I can live with that. But I'm not asking you to agree. All I'm doing is explaining myself. That's it.
I just want them to make it mandatory.
I like what Rigor Mortis wrote down. Read that one.
How are you, Jesse Flying? Now, one thing that I would say, Carlos, on that note, is that good night, Brent Ariel. I'll see you later, Gary. On that note, I would agree with something that Jim did say, Carlos, and I respect what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hey, if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. But Jim said that if tomorrow the FAA was to make another test that we all need to go ahead and take to be able to fly recreational Part 107, I would take it too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I would.
I have a reason behind
This is what I'm going to say.
because we are the first generation.
Yeah, but Jim, this is Jim's livelihood in business. So for him, it's a whole different aspect of the hobby where he has to conform a little bit in order to, keep going with his business. I'm having fun with an FPV drone, and I have to take an FAA test to if anything, I don't even like giving my name to the government and just saying, this is me, and I'm sorry, I'm not about that.
But listen, nobody tracks you better than Google, so you don't have to worry about the government.
No,
Google's
I understand.
got you tracked every
but
move
don't
your
make
phone
it
never
easier.
makes.
You're right. I get a report every month about how many miles and cities I've traveled, and it's kind of I have to turn the location.
It asks me if I want to take a certain picture and make it part of the travel, pictures for that spot. So I didn't even know my phone was using my pictures. You know what I'm saying? I didn't give them permission, but whatever. But I'm just saying that we are the first generation to ever fly these things.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be sticking together. We need to be making the rules along with the government. Listen, I've got plenty of problems with the fact that the new ARC action committee for the government is the top of the list starts with Amazon Prime Airways. And the next guy is Boeing.
So do you
Nowhere
really
on
think
there does it say Carlos, Jim, Adrian,
and they are
Omar.
not considered? They're not even considering us. We're little peons. And
Right.
when I know that that's how I'm considered and treated by my own government, you think I'm going to say, okay, whatever you want, I'll just sit here? No, I'm sorry. Listen, just to give you an idea, this is how my brain thinks. You ever hear these commercials? At the end of the commercial, some guy's talking about 30, 40 miles an hour, and you don't know what the hell he said, but it's a
Right.
disclaimer. The fact that our government allows that pisses me off. The fact that they have fine print that's like 30 paragraphs in a freaking space of 2 inches, and it's allowed and legal.
I love,
Bullshit.
absolutely love the little disclaimers at the end of these medicine commercials. May give you liver damage. You may go blind. You know, you may die after taking this. Do not take it.
Yeah, but science and Dr. Fauci said it was okay. I would love for you to Google how many pharmaceuticals every year are recalled. Over 3,000 between pharmaceuticals and mesh.
The biggest farce
those-
in America was wearing a paper mask, thinking you're going to stop a virus.
Fucking idiots.
That's the
But
biggest farce
people
in America.
believed it. People believed it.
I know, and they still do.
So
They're
then,
still wearing them.
what does that say? What does that say? You tell me.
Look, plenty of people are sheep and follow rules just because they're told to follow rules.
I'm sorry.
And the ones, right. But don't just do nothing about it. Every now and then. I mean, I was one of the 53,000 who
Listen, I'm
put
here
in a
standing up
response
and
to
I'm
the-
getting yelled at because I don't agree. So I am
I
doing
was one of
something
the
about it personally.
53,000 who put a response into the government on their notice for the proposed rules. Okay, you got to be part of the solution. If not, you lose your rights. And that's where I think we should all be sticking together and not fragmenting into an FPV group and a camera group. More than ever, I think we need
where
to
is
just
it-
be one drone group.
How is it fragmented? Like, how do you see it fragmented? I haven't seen any evidence of that.
There are plenty of channels that are strictly FPV, and that's that. That's that.
But wait a minute. You're talking about like as a live stream or as an individual flying only FPV? What do you mean?
Individuals flying only FPV. What do you? That kind of means.
You're saying there's a lot of FPV channels.
No, I'm saying there are like FPV guys who say, "Oh, like look at Dan. Dan will say, "Oh, you're flying a camera drone," you
Right.
know, like you're not like us FPV guys. You know, we can do this and do loopsy doops and all that crap.
You're not a
I'm
real
not there to do
pilot.
loopy doops.
Well, no, wait.
You're not
there's-
a real pilot.
There's
Right,
two,
right.
There's two different piloting skills involved with GPS and FPV. You do agree with that, all of you? Would you agree?
Yeah, I've never flown FPV. You know that.
Well, Lon has. Lon, what do you think?
Well, I think it's different. I just don't. When people try to, what's the word I'm looking for? They try to make
belittle?
themselves out
Belittle?
to be better than the other person because they do it.
But
you know,
that's not.
something-
That's a personal idiot, not a general consensus.
No,
You
they
know what
say
I'm
you're
saying?
not a real pilot.
But that's the
Half the
personal.
people
The person that said that. That's their
All right,
take.
let him
I'm
finish.
seeing lots of FPV guys say that. I'm not saying you said
No,
that.
but here's the difference. This is what you will hear from FPV. Whether you agree or not, that's okay. And I remember Edward saying it many moons ago, and it made sense. He said an FPV pilot will fly a drone. A GPS pilot will operate it. It's a little bit different because the fact that you can walk away from it, go get a drink, go take a leak, and come back, that's not flying. The fact that, and I love Dennis Lovelady and what he does, and a lot of people enjoy it. The fact that he could play a ukulele and get a sunrise, that's not flying. The bird is just up there.
Yeah,
That's the only difference. That's the only difference as far
Okay.
as piloting skills that I see.
Okay. Well, when I
Is
first
that fair
started,
to is that fair to say, Lon, or is that?
Well,
Sure,
are you
when I first
definitely-
started with drones, I had to build my own from the ground up. There was no GPS, no stabilization, no nothing. And back in the 80s, when I flew helicopters, there was zero
Same
help. So I guess I can say to you, with a flight controller and ESCs and whatnot, you're not a real pilot
Why?
because you have electronic aids. Your tiny hawk helps you fly it. You don't
How
fly.
so?
You don't control all four of those motors individually. Like when I flew a helicopter, I had to control both motors individually.
How do
And
you
the
how do you
angle of
control two
rotors.
motors and then also control the
Those
pitch and roll?
helicopters are a bitch. I'll tell you that
I
They're
right
a bit.
now.
Yeah,
No, but how many
they're a bit.
hands, how many fingers did you actually have to control 4 motors and roll and pitch?
Well, no, my point is that you're not controlling everything individually. So I'm saying
What
there's
I'm
levels.
saying is, if I let go of the sticks, the bird is going to fall.
Right.
Well, kind of. Actually, your throttle will stay in position if you park your throttle
All right,
in the
but it's-
middle of the drone.
It'll go
Kind
forward.
of, right? Am I wrong?
No,
Am I wrong?
but it's like saying, well, if I fall asleep at the wheel, the car's going to go forward. But
No, you can change your sticks so
no.
that thing will
I
stay
said
in the
if I
middle.
let go of the sticks, the bird will fall. If I let go
Okay,
of the
that's
steering
not my
wheel, the
point.
car will crash.
That's not my point. I'm saying there's these levels of people and people that fly. Quote, and
Listen,
like
I
said,
know
when I
there's a
first
lot
started
of
flying-
Let
FPV
'em
snobs.
finish.
There's even digital and analog snobs. Oh, I won't fly FPV because it's not digital, or the picture, or because of the static. Because FPV is not about picture all the time. It's about the flying. Sorry to interrupt you, Lon.
That's okay. All I was trying to say is, and my favorite analogy for this is the regular waitresses, look down on the Hooters girls because they're sluts, and then the Hooters girls look down on the escorts because they're whores, and then the escorts look down on the call girls, and then the call girls look down on the streetwalkers, and the streetwalkers look down on, you know what I mean?
Look, that's
There's
almost a human
there's
nature
level.
thing across the board. You don't dress like me. You don't look like me. You don't
Right.
Let me tell you
drive the
something.
same car as me. Certain neighborhoods. I once had a client, and I told her, I forget something about a car. She goes, "Oh, I would buy a car like that, but not in this neighborhood," because she has the peer pressure that she has to keep up, appearances.
Or that it'll get stolen.
No,
Right.
no. They're not worried about it getting stolen. What I was telling her is she can get a Toyota Camry. No, she needed a Mercedes or a BMW. So trust me, she's not worried about the car stolen. She's
Hey,
worried about the
Just
car looking good.
because a camera drone will sit there and hold in GPS mode
Yes.
has nothing to do with actually flying a camera drone. There are some drones you can't put near power lines because it will interfere with the interception of the signal, and you'll be taking out a power line and paying for it.
Listen, I remember when I first started with my Mavic Air, I made it a point to try ADI mode because you don't always have your GPSs to rely on.
It flies with the wind.
So how many people fly in ADI mode on purpose?
Not
Well, I used
enough.
to.
Not
You
That
used
enough.
was all I had was Addy mode.
Okay.
If, in actuality, you get a
Adrian,
better,
have you-
smoother shot in ADI mode.
Have you ever flown in ADI mode, Adrian?
Who, me? No.
Why? I'm just curious.
Anytime my drone says audio mode, I just wait until it gets GPS signal. I never fly audio mode. I never done it.
Why?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I just never done it.
Are you afraid to fly without the GPS? Would
Not
that
at
be
all.
fair to say?
Not at all, because I flew my what you call it, my little tiny hog. That doesn't have any GPS.
Yes. Those are two
Even in
different
ADI
birds.
mode, it'll hold its height. It just goes with the wind. That's all ADI mode is.
Yeah,
It still
that's my
holds its
point.
height.
The new FPV drones aren't, like they were back 10 years ago even. There's a lot of electronics going on there that help you fly. Like I could say you're not a real driver unless you have a manual transmission.
I
You
can
know
do
what I
it,
mean? It's
but
like,
yes, I agree. I understand what you're saying. I know what you mean. I felt the
to each
same
their
way.
own.
I felt the same way when I first got into this motorcycle thing. I bought myself a 250cc scooter because I was uneducated. I didn't know, and I just wanted to learn how to
Right, that's
not only
good.
learn but go forward. Then I went into the shift. I got a
Yeah,
Honda
you
BLX.
progressed, yeah.
Correct. But listen, there is no us and them when it comes to flying a drone. We all fly drones. It's because we all like the experience of flight. The only difference for me personally is I like the experience of flight over what most GPS guys like is the photography aspect. GPS for me is more of a photography thing.
And I'm into it for the photography, yes.
Me too.
And as well as work. And I think that's cool. And I think, you're going to see as time goes on, and I think the DJI FPV Bird is the first one, they're going to incorporate acro birds into cinematic picture taking, or whatever you want to call it, photography, filming, footage. Now they're going to incorporate both.
I have a bad feeling that UTM, unmanned
What is
traffic
that?
management,
Okay.
unmanned traffic management, which means I have to get out of Prime
Big airplanes.
Airways drones delivery. I have to get out of their way. I got a feeling that that's going to hurt camera drone people like me and not touch FPV guys at all.
Because
you
we
guys
don't need
aren't
to
up
be
to 300
100 feet up. Yeah,
Right.
100. Look, I could be at 50, 60 feet the whole flight
Right.
and be very satisfied with the flight. It's
Well, they
not,
probably won't, but if they worked it out right, quite frankly, there's about a 200-foot buffer zone right now
100
from 100. Excuse me, 100.
between 400 and
And,
500 feet.
You know, quite frankly, the delivery drones could live in that space.
Right. Why not
they
put
could
them at
fly at
450?
450 feet
Right.
and then get to your house and then come straight down, deliver their shit, go straight back up to 500 feet and move on to the next delivery. That might not be what happens. I understand that. And
That'd
I
be too
understand there's
easy.
money involved and a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
But it could work that way. It could.
hey, Lon,
That'd
Lon.
be too easy.
when you fly your FPV drone with the goggles, right? The DJI, don't you feel like you have not necessarily better control, but better spatial awareness as opposed to looking at the phone?
Looking
And
at a screen.
yeah. What do you think? Yeah, right. You can get
Well, it's more
closer
immersive
shots.
because you're cut off from every distraction.
No. But what I'm saying is that you can actually fly like in between trees or something like that a lot easier than with a GPS drone with just the phone, and at a faster rate of speed. Because I saw you
I
going.
would never do that.
I saw him going. You did a video, I don't know, a few months ago, in some kind of they were building something, or they were in the middle of building something, and you would
Construction site.
yeah, and you were pulling some pretty tight gaps, considering the size of the bird and how fast you were going. You probably would not do that with your GPS drone, and as smoothly or as fast, because you don't have the same perspective. With the goggles, dude, you're there, you're in the air. It's just, you know what it's like to put the goggles on. It's a whole different experience.
You know what I want to do,
yeah.
Matt Condiff?
Yes, it is.
I want to get into FPV when I can get me an X8. And the reason is so I can carry like a Blackmagic Pocket 4K camera, which is only $1,200 versus a DJI $2,000 X5S or X5. See, DJI's got this friggin' lock that I want to get away from because I don't want to be, we're going to end of life for your drone because we're not going to make batteries for it anymore. So yeah, I'm interested in learning FPV, but when I can get something that will carry a decent camera and all that.
I don't think you should do it that way. I think you should learn with a crappy drone, learn how to fly that FPV, and then you get into the expensive stuff. You don't want to start.
Well, yeah, I mean, that'll have to be the way to go. I'll
Right,
probably
that's-
even start with a tiny hawk, for God's
That's
sakes.
that's what I was going to say. You start small and work your way up.
We can
But-
build you a drone, Jim, right now that'll have 90% of the stuff that you are experiencing with your Inspire right now, you know, and just
Even the Matrice.
throw
Yeah.
black magic on it. Well, it doesn't even have to be, you can fly it with FPV batteries is what I'm saying. Because your
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
problem is the firmware and the, yada. You could have a regular flight controller like they have on the FPV drone right now, and fly around a Blackmagic camera. People do it all the time. You get a sitting, like you were just saying that, a sitting lifter, and put a couple Carlos, a couple 6S's on it.
Yeah.
You can fly multiple batteries for a couple 6S's, and fly
The
for like
ones-
30 minutes.
The ones I've seen, like Watts Aviation, those guys who, a couple of guys came out, they want 25 grand for that thing. I'm like, you people are insane, man. This is carbon fiber rods I can buy for $4. Look at the Inspires behind me. They're 22 millimeter carbon fiber rods. That's all that is, with motors on each end.
Well, build it, homeboy.
Right?
Build it. You could build it. You ever hear the Wings Land? That was one of DJI's first products, man. That's one of the first production drones I ever bought. But it was a kit. It came in a box, and you had to assemble it, and then put everything together. and whatnot. But you're exactly right. That's what it was. You opened the box, it was a bunch of flipping rods, and then it was the motors, and it was the platform, and it was, flight control and all that crap, and you had to put it all together. You could still do that. There's companies, Parrot makes the Iris, I think it was. Wasn't it Parrot that made the Iris? I can't remember, but there's still companies that make kit drones you can buy for a couple grand and put it together and launch a halfway decent camera on it. Maybe not the Black Magic, it's a little bit heavy, but you could probably get like a ZV-1 on there, something like that, which would be halfway decent.
You know what? They make that camera out of carbon fiber, and they kind of had, I'm not going to say us in mind or flight in mind. I won't even say that. But it doesn't autofocus. The 6K one does autofocus for $2 grand. You know what I'm saying? They had to, and, with that, especially if you're flying like a heavy lifter, now you're flying like Carlo says, when you let go of the stick, it drops. You can't be manually focusing and still trying to fly at the same friggin' time. So, there are a few glitches right now that won't be there next year, I'm sure, or the year, or the year after.
That's true. Well, it's a two-pilot system, the cameraman and the actual pilot. You have an FPV camera, and then the cameraman has.
That's what the Inspire is about, right? Or can be. You can do that with the Inspire.
That and the Matrice, you can have two remote controls.
Yeah. Oh, the Mavic 2 Pro would do that. I kept telling people that crap. Nobody ever listened to me. I was like, the Mavic 2 Pro allowed you to control the camera separate with another controller from the guy flying. You just didn't have two views.
Something else I've always done since the Phantom 4. Hey. I always HDMI out to a 12-inch HD TV. You guys don't have to. I mean, I want a command station too, but you don't need to. Right. I've got a little piece of crap TV in the back of the car that accepts HDMI from the controller, and bingo, you're in business, man. It's not a 12-volt inverter is like $20.
Hey, Lon, I didn't know that you could do that with the Mavic 2 Pro.
The goggles.
So you're telling me that I can actually control. Say that again. You could do one now.
2 controllers.
I made a video about it.
You want to fly and somebody else control my camera, the gimbal?
Yeah.
Yes, because as you know, you can touch the screen and hold it and move the camera around.
Yes, I know, because I made a video doing that. I know.
Okay, you can have 2 controllers, and one guy could point the camera, and the other guy could fly the drone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I want to know about the. Matt Condiff said something about an update for goggles and the Air 2, I think he said. But whatever drone it is, what goggles are they? The white ones? Yes,
the white ones work with if you have the smart controller, you can use any goggles that take HDMI in. Okay. And the first gen DJI goggles take HDMI in.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because I remember that I had those goggles and it had head tracking, meaning you look to the left or the right, and that's where the camera looks.
The white one does that. I got those. You could do that.
The camera looks that way, but the bird keeps going forward.
Yes.
Right. Do you ever try it, Adrian?
I actually have on it. I like it, but it kind of
takes getting used to.
For a second, it kind of scared me because when I did, I thought the drone was also going the other way, but it was actually still going straight. So yeah.
Oh, the V2 goggles, the black ones.
Yes. The V2 goggles. The other half of my FPV, they are.
They're FPV also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's only has the only problem
is race goggles.
It only had one antenna.
Race goggles, V1 FPVs. Now they're in the V2. DJI's had technically.
Oh, you're talking about DJI. Those, all right. The updated goggles. All right.
They really screwed you guys on the goggles department, man. That was a moneymaker.
Yep.
Which one?
The original white ones?
With the white, the
Those
first version 1 couldn't do the version 2, couldn't do the FPV drone.
The version 2 could do the FPV.
Oh,
the version 2 can, but the version 1 can't.
Correct.
It's like you got to buy another set of goggles just for that drone. That would piss me off.
Oh, just for the FPV experience.
Yeah.
And there was lag also. It wasn't that great.
Well, Lon still flies it.
No, but I remember flying the Mavic Air in sport mode with the goggles, and I was 10 feet in front of what I thought I was. You know, there's that all of a sudden you just push forward 10 or 15 feet.
That's another good point you bring up. People forget that these things have a focal crop factor.
And a lag or a delay.
Most of the crop factor is ×2. I know it is on the Mavic 2 Pro and up. You're close, you know, objects are closer than they may appear.
It's like
They
that
can be
mirror.
further
That,
away too
I
than
think-
they appear, though.
I think
Typically,
Adrian
if
has
it's
a,
cropping in, that means the object's further away than you think it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's just cropping in.
That's why I had to be 2 blocks away in 2017 when I was taking that convenience store that they were building, and I wound up on top of a motorcycle clubhouse. You remember that story?
I've heard it. Yeah,
When they came running at me with guns, pistols out,
they thought you were spying.
they thought I was spying on them. I had to be 2 blocks away just to film because of the crop factor, just to get the whole gas station or convenience store in the frame.
Have a good night, rigor mortis.
And don't forget to tap the
Yeah, rigor
focus
mortis.
too. You can still tap the screen and have it autofocus.
That was
Right.
the Mavic Pro, right?
The Phantom 4, Mavic 2 Pro, all of them do it, right?
The Mavic, the Air 2S has tapped the focus too.
Good. That's
So if you-
that's a good feature.
but if you don't tap, will it automatically focus or no?
You can calibrate your camera ahead of time. Like I calibrate it. It says to calibrate for at least 120 feet or 125 feet. I calibrate it to my neighbor's backyard. There's a tree back there. So that's a good 200 feet. So when I'm up 200 feet high, I know where it's going to focus on. You can calibrate your camera for different distances.
I didn't know.
You know, Bob's saying the Air 2S has autofocus. He's right, but you can tap the focus too, is what I'm saying. If you want to focus on something else in the screen, you can tap the screen and it'll change the focus. But it has autofocus continuous automatically. The Mavic 2 Pro, you can switch between manual or autofocus continuous.
Because I've heard people say, "Oh man, I forgot to touch the screen to focus."
Yep,
Have
that
you ever
happens
heard
a
that?
lot.
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
Yeah, and
That's
it's all.
Crappy,
Yep.
crappy thing to happen. I don't know.
But
That
the
happened
B2
at the
goggles,
drone meetup.
Did it?
the B2 goggles are way better for latency now.
You're talking about the
from-
ones with the DJI, the newest DJI drone.
Yeah, the newest
Yeah,
ones, the
now
latency's good.
It's little to none. You're talking
Right,
about
the
milliseconds.
white goggles, the big giant, like
Yeah.
Adrian's got,
Yeah,
the big white goggles, those things are latency monsters, bro. But that was
it's good for
4
tripod
or 5
mode
years
or
ago. I mean,
no. But
Those
it's
are
still-
those FX ones?
no. It's just the
Okay.
big white ones, but
the
they're
big
still
white
good for
DJI
regular.
goggles.
Oh,
For
okay,
regular
okay.
flight, it keeps up, but for sport mode, it does not keep up. Not at all.
The original Mavic Pro, you had to remember to tap the focus.
Right.
Right. It was. I
He's
remember
exactly right. If
hearing
you did,
people
it'd be
complain.
blurry as hell.
But what see when it comes to my Mavic 2 Pro and my Mavic 2 Zoom, it does that automatically for me. Does it do it for you, Jim?
Yeah, that's what AFC
Autofocus?
is. Autofocus continuous.
Autofocus continuous.
And you look on the specs, and it'll actually autofocus to infinity on
Yeah, I
the
don't remember
specs.
that. Right.
But tapping the focus is always a good idea because, like Lon said, if you want one specific part of that picture, like a silo in the middle of a field, you want to make damn sure it's focused. Bingo, tap the
Tap
focus.
on the silo, right?
Yep.
Or you're doing rule of thirds, you know.
I've heard of that.
Because it's
Yeah.
only going to focus the center of the screen
Mhm.
if you leave it up to the drone. It's going to focus on what's in the center of the screen. So you
Okay.
tap the focus to you know.
Does the app still allow you to put that like graph, like
It-
cut
Yes,
the boxes?
that's what he's talking about. The rule
That's
of
what he's
thirds.
talking about. What it's like
It-
9 boxes or it's
Yeah,
cut
9
into-
boxes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
you
Or you
go
can
to
have
the
the
center
angles
row.
in and the boxes and the X's and the
Now, Lon, when you fly your
zebra
regular
stripes.
GPS drone, do you prior to flying lower your gimbal speed
Oh, I do.
the way
You
it
know,
goes up?
I have really, you know, when you've been flying a really long time, not
You have
that
that
you're
soft
so
touch.
awesome or whatever, you get used to it. I'm not one of these guys that like play with it like Ken. Me and Ken will call me and be like, you know, we'll go back and forth. And he's one of these guys that want it to be set exactly the way he wants it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He'll play with it to get it exactly the way he wants it. You know what I mean? I fly it the way it comes, for the most part. I just like get used to the way it operates. and
You
go
learn
from
Yeah,
there.
no,
how much pressure to put on the stick.
Yeah.
that's the way I'm like, because there's
Or
people
the
that
dial.
there's people that adjust PIDs and tunes and rates and this. It's like you buy a new car and then you what are you gonna what do you call it? Customize it to your driving?
No,
you get
but
used to the new car.
I cut my drift, the yaw speed down to number 13
I remember
because I wanted to go slowly. And if I fly too fast, that's my damn fault. But I don't want any juddery pictures. I want it to go smoothly instead of just go quick and a hard stop.
No, I learned that a few months after getting it, that you can actually control the speed. It made a big difference.
It does.
Yeah, the smoothing is the one I changed the most because it stops it from jerking to a stop.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It eases to a stop.
Well, isn't that what the gimbal speed does? It just makes it
Yes.
right
Yeah,
Yes.
the smoothing.
instead of
Yep. Because
Yeah.
the way it comes like that.
exactly. Yeah, pretty much it goes up and down the way it calibrates in the beginning.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bob
shoot.
Casey's got his down at 10. Yeah, I'm at 13. Pretty much the same. I like a nice smooth roll off. So to speak.
Jim, quick story. I go to Charlie's house. I have a customer that's had a Mavic Air 2 for 2 years in his closet. I said, listen, give me this thing. Let's try to get it up in the air. So I bring it to Charlie Mafia, and we do all the updating, this, that, and the other thing. He puts it up in the air, and in the middle of flight, IMU error, and the thing starts to go up and over his house.
Oh shit.
And we got lucky that it freaking landed in the street after, chopping some trees.
Whenever you get that, just
Talk
bring
about
it down,
scared.
put it on a flat
He
surface.
had no control, and he said there was no picture. We ran to the back.
Oh man.
I'll send you
Did he
the,
ever return to home?
Yeah, there was none. He said he had no control. Dude,
Oh,
do you know what my heart was doing when you have somebody else's drone? You try to help the guy, and imagine you bring it back broken. Oh my god!
If you get that, calibrate the compass and the
we
IMU
did.
sensor
It had
again.
a problem. We did 3 times. We have to bring it to DJI or a repair shop.
It
Something's up.
still had a problem? Did you do it on a completely flat surface? Yes.
You know Charlie. Charlie's.
Yeah. Wow, I'm surprised.
that's pretty weird.
It was
DJI is not
scary.
perfect though.
It was
Is
scary.
Charlie that guy
But
called John
remember-
Psyche?
Yeah,
Yes.
but remember, it was in the closet for 2 years with no update. So I don't.
I know that really shouldn't affect it though.
And one of the 3 batteries didn't take a charge.
Unless it was sitting next to a high-powered magnet the whole time, that
I
shouldn't
don't-
affect
I
it
don't-
at all,
I don't know. We just
right?
crazy. It was scary.
That's a good one, Jim.
2 years of brutal Bose 901s, you know.
It was an
Hey, Carlos, what drone was that?
reactor.
What'd you say?
What
They
drone
did.
was that? That's John Psyche.
Mavic Air. Mavic Air.
The Mavic Air 1 or 2?
1.
One.
That'd be the one he said it set for
Well,
2 years.
I remember when my Mavic Air 1 time I did have it close to a big old, one of those big old power lines, Jim, with
Yep.
nothing big ones. And I swear to God, I had it coming back to me. And then the drone, it got close to the wires. It turned around by itself and it took off the other way. Fast as shit. I was trying to return it. It took me about 50 minutes for me to return the motherfucker back to me. It will not come back.
That's
And
what
then
I
when
was
you
trying to
turn
tell
around it-
Carlos.
When I try to land it, it won't even land. It just slam into the ground like I had no control over it at all.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Most of the time, Carlos, especially with these behind me, these Inspire drones, when you get near power lines, they do what guys call the toilet bowl. It'll start going like this and up and down,
Mhm.
and you get scared shitless that you're about to take those power lines out. Or at the
Dude.
very least, lose the drone in the power lines, right?
My heart was beating today. Let me tell you.
Yeah. And that's in fact the only reason I got the Matrice is because it's got that EMI shielding, that electromechanical interference will kill you.
Yeah, here's the thing, the DJI fanboy, but it's all about improvements. It's all about progression. The first Mavic Pro, a lot of people love it, and I'm sorry, everybody that owns one is gonna jump up and go, "What? That's a great drone." It was a piece of shit compared to the Mavic 2 Pro. Okay,
Yeah.
for real. And it's a piece of shit compared to the Air 2S.
What are we talking about? Which one?
The
Direct
Mavic
to
Pro.
cameras.
Their
Oh,
first
okay.
folding drone. The Phantom one. The Phantom one was a piece of garbage. Okay.
Jim, I
It's
sent
cool.
you a messenger.
All right.
Yeah, the Phantom 1 was a piece of shit, in my opinion. You know, it flew away all the time. You know, it lost signal all the time. You know,
What
it
I
wasn't
couldn't
that-
figure
it wasn't
out,
that great.
Lon,
Huh?
why did Skydio come out with the same 12 megapixel camera 3-4 years later? I don't understand.
Don't look at me. Why did DJI put the same stupid camera on the FPV drone? I'm still pissed about that. You know?
And
Yeah, that's
between the
right.
Pro and the Zoom on the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom, the Zoom still has the old camera on it. They just
Right.
added a digital zoom on it.
No, it's
And-
optical.
It
I don't
is
know if
optical.
It is optical, yes.
Well,
I
that's
don't know
good.
if it means anything, but the Mavic Air Original was also Wi-Fi, as opposed to like OcuSync or any
It
of that.
does
Right.
Yeah,
mean
the Mavic Air1 is Wi-Fi.
Right.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi
So
is
DJI is
really
not perfect by any stretch.
Anyway, Jim, I sent you the just a short clip, but then I wasn't videotaping because I was too scared running with Charlie. What the
Oh, I
hell?
see it.
I kept telling him land. I can't,
Oh, shit.
dude. And it landed in the middle of the street. Thank God there was no carts coming. I mean, it
I-
wasn't high either.
It won't open
I had a
up.
lot of those moments. I had the GoPro
Oh
Karma.
man, it was so because it wasn't mine. I was like, I'm trying to help the guy, and I end up getting screwed.
Yeah.
I'll never do that again.
Right.
Holy cow, scary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to go pro karma. I had many of those moments, you know.
My
Well, I
first-
mean, yeah, it's like it would just lose GPS. Like,
My first flight with the Mavic Air, I thought I did all the updates, and I pressed return to home, and I swear this thing was going to China, and it ended up in a tree. It didn't crash, but that was my first experience. Then I take it to the park, and I'm flying, and my camera goes black, my phone rather. Like, what the and remember, maybe a month, 6 weeks into the hobby, and I'm like running towards the drone, and in my head, I'm thinking of all the excuses I'm going to tell DJI why I have to return it. And sure as shit, the thing comes back all by itself. I was like, oh God, this drone is perfect. It's idiot proof because
yeah,
that was a scary feeling to lose the bird, not know where it is, and then all of a sudden hear it come over your head and land. That was
yeah. I
these
gotta
things.
tell you,
These
that,
things
that's
are
one
impressive
thing-
when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's one thing about this hobby that's changed drastically, and probably the people that are into FPV probably appreciate still that white knuckle flying stuff is done. You know, with the modern DJI drone. I remember
Yeah.
I flew the 3DR Solo, for example, and it was white knuckle, baby. You know, the whole time you're flying, you're like, oh, is it gonna wreck? Is it gonna quit? Is it gonna lose GPS? Is it gonna lose signal? Is it, you know what I mean? You're constantly like, ooh, that wingsland. You know, you're like, oh boy, what's gonna happen this time? You know, but now you fly the Air 2S, you launch it, and then if you want to, you can hit return to home and start packing up. You know, make a sandwich. You know what I mean? You're like, you
Adrian.
know what's coming back.
Yeah.
Play this one for a second. That's the Mavic Air 2 he's talking about.
That's the Mavic Air1.
That's Air 1.
Air 1.
Is that drifting by itself?
It's like, fuck. Where'd it go?
He said, I'm not doing anything.
Can you see it? No, not there.
You hear the panic in my voice?
It's like, oh shit.
You hear it?
Land. You hear it?
Land.
Listen to me.
It's in a tree.
Land.
Land.
Yeah.
Land.
I hear it.
Land. I think I was
Were
talking
you
to the
pressing and
drone.
holding return to home?
I was
Carlos,
talking
it
to the
doesn't have
drone. not
voice
Charlie.
recognition, Carlos.
I'm sorry. Say again.
That was luck.
It doesn't have voice recognition, dude.
I know, but I was praying.
What camera are you filming that with?
My phone,
Oh,
shitty phone.
It flies.
and all of a sudden it just took off.
Look, watch.
Drifting by itself.
Yeah, Jim.
Look.
Stop.
What the hell? Stop. It's funny
Been there.
now. It wasn't funny then. Let me tell you. Oh,
Yeah.
Charlie had no picture on the
Nothing.
screen.
Oh my gosh, what a scary moment, man.
Yeah.
That's like what,
I-
$900 worth of drone?
my karma would do that. It was just like, hey, I'm gonna just go over here now.
Bye.
You know?
That happened to Matt. He
Oh,
was
my God.
flying the Spark one day, and he showed me the video, the flight record. It just started doing this, and then would fly for 10 feet, and then doing that again, and he couldn't stop it from doing that. Fortunately, he got it back. Yeah.
So listen, Adrian, I got to get up at like early to meet up with these.
Yeah,
friends.
man. It's about to be 11:30. I'm about to go and call
Can
it
I,
a night.
can I say one thing real quick? Is I'm not here to, I don't get arrested. I don't go to jail, and I'm not a thief or a crook or a lawbreaker. But some things I just have to, to me, I got to stand up for it. And
I
I'm
love different opinions.
I don't agree, but that doesn't mean that anybody has to follow or like what I do or agree with what I do. I'm just saying this is me and how I do me at this point. And I don't feel like I argue with you, Lon, or with you, Jim, or with
You can
Chris,
argue with
or
me all
Mitch,
day. I don't
or
care.
with Adrian. But I'm saying, but we didn't.
Hey, I still argue with Dan. He keeps trying to call that little thing a friggin' Harley Davidson. It's a Buell.
Oh, his
What?
his
Wait a minute. What did you just say?
Dan bought a
Did you say
Buell.
the B word?
He bought he got one of those Buell Cafe races, and he keeps calling it a Harley Davidson.
It makes him feel better.
I know, and I got to keep busting his balls because it's Eric Buell who made it, and they stopped making them in 2009.
Yeah, they were selling that. Well, they had one that was like a 400 or whatever.
5.
And I lived in North Carolina, and they were brooming them for under $1,000. When they were going out of business, they had like 50 of them in a warehouse, and they were brooming them.
Wow.
Brooming them for like $800-900. Just come and take them.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's right,
they-
Mel. I do like a good debate.
Hey,
nothing wrong
Carlos.
with a
Hey,
debate.
Carlos.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Carlos. Before you leave, I want to do something real quick. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me see if you all can see this. Hold on. Right here. I just want to go ahead and do this. Can you see this?
Yeah,
Not yet.
it's coming
It's
up.
buffering.
It's
I see leaves.
it didn't show up on screen. There
Oh,
it is.
there you go.
There it is.
Can you see the wheel?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's the wheel of giveaways.
No. This is no damn giveaway. This is the wheel where it says who thinks that Carlos is the biggest jackass. The biggest jackass. Here we go.
Oh, can I just put mine?
Wait a minute. No. Hold on.
Let's see.
Let's see who is it.
I hope you included me in there. Oh yeah, I'm on there. All right. Spin the wheel.
You don't want to feel left out, right, Jim?
Oh, looks like it's Matt Cundiff.
Oh, Matt
Okay.
Condiff called you the biggest dumbass.
Now
I
come
thought
on, it moved like 2 steps.
No,
That's
it didn't. It
Adrian's
moved really
internet.
fast. It went all the way around.
We
Listen,
didn't see it.
I always say to people, you have to consider the source of your critics. There's an old story. I was on a job. I was a pipe fitter at the time, and I'm going through a list of stuff I needed with this guy who was a freaking. We had like a rivalry, best mechanic, best pipe fitter, blah blah blah. So I said, Roger, we need this, that, and the other thing. He goes, Carlos, I don't care what you need, you piece of shit. Just like that. And so I said, Roger, real calmly, I said, Roger, if you were Sister Teresa, my mother, somebody who mattered, and you call me a piece of shit, it might bother me. But when a piece of shit calls you a piece of shit, it means nothing.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. I consider the source of my critics. So
Mel,
Adrian,
I know the story of Eric Buell.
Yeah,
Good
Eric
night,
Buell.
See you later,
I'm
man.
a bike guy.
all right, everybody
You
have a
got
good
it.
night. Keep smiling, have fun, laugh, live, and
Night,
wish us
Carlos.
luck for tomorrow. Take
Hey,
care.
take plenty of video, man. Take
Yeah,
plenty
that's
of video.
that's gonna be Paul said. Paul said he's gonna be the B-roll guy.
All right.
That's his
All right,
his
take it
mission.
easy, man.
Take care,
Good.
guys. Keep smiling.
The Eric Buell, he actually got screwed at the end of that deal. They gave him nothing, man.
Yeah, but he didn't read the contracts apparently.
How much did it
You
cost?
know?
How much did it cost, Jim?
What?
Whatever that you're talking about, the Buell, whatever the fuck
Oh
that is.
no, Dan bought a Buell motorcycle and then sold off his scooters and the jet ski, and but he keeps calling it a Harley Davidson because it makes them feel better. So I keep telling them it's a Buell motorcycle company. Motorcycle.
Well,
Eric
And I'm-
Buell was a engineer or something at Harley Davidson, and kind of went off on his own and they did sell them at Harley Davidson. But at 2009, when the whole thing went under, that man actually got nothing.
okay. He didn't read the contracts. But there was the last series of motorcycles they sold, like the Blast and they weren't even Buells.
No,
They weren't even Buells because Buell's design was very specific. They went off the rails from his design. I mean, they had a Polaris motor in it and a flipping. You know, they only thing that I think they kept from his initial design was the, what do they call that? The outer rim braking system.
yeah,
And I think they still had oil in the swing arm, if I'm not mistaken.
he wanted to put, like you're talking oil in the swing arm. He wanted to
Yeah.
put gasoline in the frame.
In the frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he couldn't, nobody in the government was like, no. You know, the process to be able to do that was so convoluted that you could never, the manufacturing process would have made the bike cost $30,000.
And it's only
Yeah,
a
you
single
know.
cylinder. Yeah, yeah.
Well, you'd have to make it and seal it. And, you know what I mean?
It would kind of have to be pressurized, wouldn't it? Because how are you going to get that gas from the bottom of the frame up to the motor?
Well,
You know what I
it'd be
mean?
probably part of the frame. You know what I mean? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And depending on how you made your frame. If you made your frame like they do, like I got a Gixxer 1000, right? The way that frame is made, it is basically a big hollow, you know, thing. Like the Kawasaki DX12, the initial one, had a monocoque frame, and they probably could have done it with that because the airbox was part of the frame, right?
Really?
So it could be done, but the regulations to try to make that happen and the manufacturing process would have been prohibitive, in my opinion.
And you're right, because my Harley Electric Glide is hollow tube, steel framed. And let
Right.
me tell you something. To try and break that, so like if you were going to say a gasoline leak or they're a danger to society or something like that, man, you'd have to do, I don't know what you would have to do to break that frame to make it leak. You know what I'm saying? That's some
Right.
pretty badass steel.
It was chromoly, but yeah, I agree with that. But you couldn't make it. Well, you could make it out of steel, but it'd have to be some kind of coating in it, and et cetera, et cetera. By the time,
For the rust.
you know, as you know, gasoline's got water in it, and
Yeah.
modern gasoline's got alcohol in it. So there would have to be some serious coating in it, and like again, the manufacturing process would be, you know, it would take away any benefit that he thought he was going to gain by putting gasoline in the frame.
I
Yeah,
worry
you-
about that in my tank. I use that stupid, what's that stuff in that little can that I use?
Stable.
Yes, Stay-Bill. I use that in the tank.
Yeah. So to each their own. I mean, a Buell is not a Harley. People that
No, he just wants to call it that, you know, to break my balls.
a V-Rod's not a Harley, in my opinion, but whatever. You know, that Porsche design motor. You know, it's like, yeah, okay.
Hey, to me, owning a Harley is like owning a swimming pool because I bought that thing for $24,000 in 2009. I got over 40 grand into it. You try go out and spec some chrome, see how much that shit costs. For no reason at all. It's just anything that says Harley on it is triple inflated.
Hey,
Right?
you bought in, buddy. You could have bought a Yamaha.
A friend of mine had when they first came out. He had a KZ 1000. That was death on wheels, man. I just can't because I would do that. I got that personality, Lon. If it can do 1,000, I'll do 1,000. You know what I mean? I would kill myself on that thing. I got a nice cruiser that's got a nice backrest and a low cut seat, and that's me doing 70 down the highway. That's
Well, I had a V-Max. So
Hey, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that the one that you were riding at the Jornita when we were flying out there?
yes.
Okay. That thing's
Correct.
huge, man.
Yeah, it's 1,000 pounds. That's why you got to back up when you're picking it up. You got, if it could, you know.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, Jim, I got my motorcycle back. I don't know if you heard the story, but it was stolen 2 years ago. And they pulled some guy over in Georgia riding it, so I got it back like a month ago.
Wow.
He crashed it. So I just rebuilt it, but my bike weighs 375 pounds.
Now, who pays for that? Do they make the guy pay for it to fix it? You said he crashed
fix it?
Yeah.
Me. Everything's me.
And
Now,
what happens to the
could
criminal?
I go after the guy or something? I guess possibly, whatever, as far as that goes. But then I had to pay for the impound fees, which I didn't agree with. I thought that was BS.
Yeah.
They should charge him the impound fees at least. I had to pay to have it shipped from Georgia to Michigan, and then I did all the labor, so it didn't cost me less than $1,000 to rebuild the bike from the ground up. Basically, I tore the motor apart, and I had an oil leak, and he had a spark plug in the drain where the drain plug is. He had a spark plug stuck in there. Apparently, he lost the drain plug at some point, so he used the spark plug to plug it up.
Holy shit!
The guy wasn't the smartest,
Yeah.
knife in the drawer, or the sharpest knife in the drawer. But anyway, I spent maybe $1,000 to rebuild it. I put a whole new body kit on it. That's a good thing about these Japanese bikes. The mirrors were $30 for a set. Try that with a Harley.
I had a Honda 750 back in the 70s, and like I said, parts for that thing I could go anywhere. I could practically go to a Kmart and get parts for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was beautiful back in those days.
Yep.
KZ Mal had a
900.
KZ 900 to the Air Force. Yeah, and those things flew. Those things took off like bats out of hell. You could hear him, from my house. I could hear him 2 neighborhoods away, screaming home. It was
Right.
crazy.
Well, like I said, I used to have a VMAX. I don't know if you're familiar, but that was the Yamaha, the V4 1200. And they had V-Boost. It was kind of a low rent turbo. So it was the fastest motorcycle made in the late 80s. Period. That was a death trap.
What's now, the Hayabusa?
Yeah, I had a Hayabusa. I had a 2000 Hayabusa. 2000 Hayabusa. That was a fun bike to own.
Shit, what'd they do? About 200?
Yeah, that bike did over 200 miles per hour leaving the dealership. he throw gas in it and you were gone.
My thing, and especially down here in Florida, drivers don't use their directionals. They'll stop in the middle for no reason. I don't know why, but they just stop. And you got to be quick on the bike, man.
Yeah, your situational awareness has got to be on point when you ride. That's bottom line. Which makes me a better driver in the car and in my work truck, quite frankly, because my situational awareness is so keen from riding motorcycles for 40 years now. Yeah, for 40 years, I got situational awareness. If you're riding with me at any moment, you can say, "Hey, who's behind you on the left?" I'll say a blue Mazda or something like that. I'll be like, because I keep.
Are you like me? I always keep my headlight in the guy's mirror. So I know I'm annoying him, but I'm doing that for a purpose so he knows that I'm behind him.
Yeah, I assume everybody's stupid when I ride.
Right.
Everyone's stupid. They get ready to do something stupid. Any minute now, that chick sitting at the stoplight, a stop sign is going to take off. So, yeah, I assume everyone's an idiot.
They'll cut you off in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And these guys, especially the guys with the trucks, they figure, my truck's bigger. You're not going to do any damage to me. And they just cut in front of you and shit. It's bad. You got to be on the ball. My biggest problem with those things is actually when you're doing like from 0 to 20 miles an hour in that really slow traffic, we don't get a whole lot of that here, but you know how front heavy they are, when you're trying to make slow turns, slow moves.
Well, crotch rockets or motorcycles in general?
More like the big cruisers, the heavier bikes. The crotch rocket, I think, wouldn't be a problem in the front end.
That's why I like them better than cruisers. I was a big cruiser guy for years. I owned like 3 Harleys in a row back when I was in the Army, and then I got the VMAX I got given to me by my uncle passed away. My aunt gave it to me, and that was it. I was done. I went Japanese bike after that, but that was the early '90s. You know, when Harley was, you know.
Yeah,
my Harley
AMF,
spent more time in the shop than it did under my ass. Let's put it like that. My Harley, I had brand new Harley, a 1200 Sportster, and that damn thing. You know, and they would always blame me. Why are you riding it too hard? And you listen to that. I go, dude, I was riding with guys with 500s and 750 Hondas. They're kicking my ass all up and down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't riding it too hard, bro.
All right,
You
well,
know?
Jim, Lon, everybody in the chat, I'm about to go and call it a night.
All right, brother. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure having you, Jim. Do me a favor, man. Try to make it here every Saturday night, man. I just had fun once again having you here, man. The conversation today was great. It was, you know, discussion that we all just have every once in a while. That's why I made it a free fall Saturday where we could just talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. I understand what you're saying. I heard what you said. Carlos, anybody that, you know, whatever they had to say, man, I respect it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just good to have a little debate amongst each other. I mean, you know, do I agree with everything? No.
No.
Do I agree with everything you do? No. Do you agree with everything I do? Hell no. We're never going to agree with everything we all do.
No.
But it's okay that we talk about it every once in a while. And again, I don't want nobody to leave saying that they're upset. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if it's over somebody else, you know, idea what's not. That's not the point. Just because I don't agree with certain things, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean jack. You know?
I kind of knew Carlos's answers before I even asked the question. You know how Carlos is.
Just the way he was expressing himself, you already knew what he was going to say.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Again, it doesn't make him a bad person. It's just that, hey, I'm like you. If the FA comes up with a new rule tomorrow and they got a quiz and they want me to carry another certificate, I'm going to have it. I'm going to do it. I'm not even a Part 107 yet. I'm still going to do it anymore, no matter what. Same thing like every joint that I have. And you guys been telling me, a lot of you guys told me, including you, Jim, and I believe you too, Lon. I didn't know that as a hobbyist, I don't have to register every fucking drone, but I did. I'm not even a Part 107. I didn't know that.
You have a different FAA registration for every drone you have? You have a different FAA number?
Every freaking drone that I have, except the FPV one.
You have a different FAA number on every drone?
For every freaking drone, yes.
For all the hobby drones, you only need one.
Exactly.
One
and that's
number.
the thing. I didn't even freaking know that till maybe a year and a half ago or a year ago. Yeah, man.
Maybe now and then we should, come up with one rule. Just remind people of one rule, whatever it is, each week or something. I don't know.
That's not a bad idea.
Hey, Mel, I will definitely be on your show tomorrow night. Send me a link and I'll be there if I can, Bossman. I appreciate it, man. But anyway,
who's got a show tomorrow night?
Huh?
Who's got a show tomorrow night?
That's what Mel said.
Oh, Mel's. Okay.
He's gonna have the guy from Pilot Institute. I did mine through the Boy Scouts. See, here's the thing, just briefly. I called Ken Dono. I'm like, because he had that guy on his show. I go, dude, no one's gonna convince me that these people aren't hosting this trust test and not getting paid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Bullshit. The government's got to be kicking them some money. You know, every person that tests, you know what I mean, that takes the test off of their site, the government's kicking them $1 or something. Whatever it is, the government's paying them, I promise you, or they wouldn't do it. So
I just picked Pilot Institute because it was in the middle of the list.
Right. Everybody's using Pilot Institute because he's going on all the drone channels, you know, and he's promoting it. And, you know, and it's cool. I got nothing against the guy. I use the Boy Scouts of America's website to do my trust test because if money's going somewhere,
I didn't even think about that.
Something like that. As opposed to a guy that runs a business. No offense against the guy running a business, but if if government money's going somewhere, I'd rather go somewhere like the Boy Scouts or the American Lung Society. Yeah, American Lung Society or something like that. That's just me.
And the thing is, Lon, even that same guy that's gonna be on Mel's show tomorrow from the Pilot Institute. If you look at his actual YouTube channel, he has a lot of subscribers, but not as much as them, as much as these other guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have a lot, but not as much.
Right.
Well, his
You would
business
think-
is training for
you would think that he
107.
will have millions of subs, but he doesn't.
Right. Well, he does training for Part 107. That's his business, if I'm not mistaken. He charges you $150 or whatever to train you how to take the Part 107.
Dude,
Yeah.
I read the FAA study guide back in 2017 and took the test.
Me too.
I didn't pay $150 to anybody.
Nope. I read the study guide
I'll
on
pay
the way
Marcel.
to taking the test. I really did. I was like one of the first people around here to get my Part 107. They weren't even really set up that well.
And I'll
I
tell you
have-
something else. I watched that Chelsea and Tony Northrup video.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I read the manual on the way there because I work at the airport all the time. I was just there today. And I was just asking them about it while I was there. And they were like, yeah, it starts next week at the time. And he goes, well, can I sign up to take it? And he goes, yeah. And then it.
Oh, you could sign up.
They didn't even know what they were doing. They were like, hey, how do you sign somebody up to take
Right.
that Part 107? They had no idea. It was like 3 people in there taking it when I was there. Period.
You know, when I did my first recert, I actually had to wait on a 2-week list to get into my small little airport to take the exam again. I don't know. It must have got popular or something. I don't know, because there's only, you can look, there's a FAA pilot listing of all the pilots on there. There's only like 300 or something in my county. So why I had to wait 2 weeks, I don't know. But I was surprised because I waited till the last minute. That's what I do. I get my $150 out of it, right?
Right. Yeah, I just danced in there and took it. I thought it was really easy. Personally, I just danced in there, took it, and I got my license like a month later or whatever. And then I let it lapse because I was like, I'm not even using this stupid thing.
Yeah, a lot of people did that. I remember originally they said only 34% of the 107 pilots had recertified
Right.
on that.
Yeah, I was not a big believer in it, but I was doing like dam surveys and stuff like hydroelectric dam surveys. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? I'm making money. I'm okay with some level of regulation. Like I was trying to get across to Carlos. I'm not, I agree with them on a lot of points and I get it. People pick and choose what laws they're going to follow. That's life. You know what I mean? I do 10 miles per hour with speed limit all the time or more.
I think we all do. In Florida, if
I'm
you're
not-
doing the speed limit, you're going to get run over.
Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some goody two shoes or whatever.
Right.
But I pick and choose what laws. I think there's some laws you should follow. You know what I mean? And so does he. He listed a couple that he agrees with, and some things he doesn't agree with, and that's cool. It's
I just feel that because we're the first generation, we're kind of setting the future for the guys who come behind us. That's all.
Right.
That's my only reason.
Yeah.
I want us to be more of a part of it than not. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. I don't know.
Right. Well, that's a positive message, Jim. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm sure the people that got the first driver's licenses buckled against it. When they first made people register their guns, you can read stories about
Yeah.
people were like, well, up in arms. But I mean, literally, they're like, what? You want me to register my guns? I don't think so. When they made alcohol, when he started regulating alcohol, and all these people are like, what? You're not going to regulate my booze. I'll make my booze and sell it if I want to. You know what I mean?
That registering your guns things, besides being, we better not talk about it. We'll be on for another
Well,
hour.
Adrian wants to go.
Yes,
but-
we would. And I want to go to sleep. We're going to have to do that again some other time. All right, guys. Anyway,
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for coming in. Jim, Lon, appreciate you, man. Carlos, Old Guy on a Drone, Chris Hope, everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Have a good night, man. I appreciate you, man. Peace out. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you so much for all the love and support. I'd like to show me those what? Army boy, I'd like you to show me those videos. That's interesting. Okay. Good night, y'all. Thank you so much for the love and support. Have a good night. See ya.